Oh yay. I can do this. Silly time.
Good evening, one and all. It is Wednesday, it's the middle of the week, and it's time that we jump into some more good old Warframe. And it's going to be quintessential Warframe today. Oh, yes indeed, it is going to be what Warframe is known most for, and that is its damage numbers are absolutely insane and I don't understand them. But I will find out what I don't know, and let you all know what I find out along the way. But first things first, thank you very much there, Elliot, for the gifted sub over to Crowned Ladybug, much appreciated there, and Crescendo Fury, resubscribing with their Prime up onto 17 months. Thank you very much to the both of you, in fact. Cheers for that. Mirrorlade forgot to eat something? Well, you can always go ahead and grab something now, Mirrorlade. If you're able to tune into the stream, I imagine you should be proximal to some kind of sustenance. Please do look after oneself. And yeah, the Voruna Prime giveaway, that is happening on Sunday. That is the Voruna Prime Access, the complete pack, every bit of it all together. So make sure you definitely tune in on Sunday for that chance. Oh yes. So, what's going on? Why am I spending time on Harmony of all things today, when this came out a few updates ago now, and Voruna Prime is, well, I mean, she's mostly a reskin, yeah, the abilities remain the abilities. What is bringing me to this? And actually, it was a comment on the most recent YouTube video that got my attention onto it. If I sort by newest, just so I can find the thing. Oh, so many comments, so many people saying so many things, but if I scroll just a little bit further, here it is. Hey, just did your Christian build, accepted instead of Arcane Blessing, went Arcane Crepuscular, equipped Harmony Melee, and did this. Spawned Encrypted Heavy Gunner Xmas, went Invis, applied to ability 2, while Invis, attacked with Harmony, went Invis again, heavy attacked again, enemy struck by the statuses, Harmony's built using Melee Afflictions, maybe that was keeping his stack spreading, they say, they're not sure. In short, while not very technical and such, they dealt somewhere between 1.3 billion damage. I humbly request you illuminate me into this interaction between Voruna's abilities and Harmony. Also, thank you for the video. And they said that with a super thanks. So that was a highlighted message there. They weren't just throwing that on in the comments. They were also supporting the channel with that. So I much appreciate that. But that got me thinking, okay, so what is going on there? What is going on with that sort of thing? And so I did a little bit of testing myself. I didn't have a good answer for them. So I did a bit of quick testing myself. And yep, as a quick interruption. Button, yep. Truly the most refined of resub messages there. Azrael Angel Knight, thank you very much for continuous support on the channel here. Up onto 14 months of support. Much appreciated. Cheers. Much appreciated indeed. So yeah, I did a little bit of testing myself, and what I posted into the Supporter Tea Lounge at the end of yesterday, I captioned with, I can honestly say I have no idea how this set of damage numbers is calculated. If I just, well, if I open that image up here real quickly, just pop it onto the other screen so that you guys can see it. This is what I was greeted with. This is what I was greeted with. Let me walk you through the three numbers we see on screen here. Technically there's 4, but no one cares about the level of the Exogoxad officer in the back there. There is another number.
Hi, Ken. Smile.
25 months of support from Radika. Hello there, Radika. Much appreciated for the continued support on the channel. Over 2 years, you got that next month onto your lovely bronze teapot. Cheers for that. But yes, the numbers that we've got in this little screenshot here. This is the current focus. So we got 131,315 in orange with slash and electric procs on it. This is as a result of the heavy attack of Harmony. The build I have is irrelevant right now. It's going to be very, very relevant, but we'll get to it. That is the heavy attack itself. The next number we see here going upwards is 161,292, again with slash and electric procs, and that was Melee Afflictions. Now, if anyone knows anything about Melee Afflictions, it's that it creates funny damage numbers. And those funny damage numbers only go funnier when then Harmony goes, oh wait, sorry, we just knocked down this enemy, allow me to apply a lot more. And when I say a lot more, we have literally gone from 131,000 to 1 billion damage. 1 billion damage. Meljade say, I remember your video on the Tomcat. Yes, I should probably revisit that because I remember that it exists. That is the sum total of what I remember about it. I'll be quite honest at this point in time. In fact, you know what? Sod it. Let's grab that video real quickly. Tomcat. It's 2Ks in Tomcat, so that didn't come up.
Thank you for all the work you do on Warframe's insane math logic.
Zernova was taken. Thank you very much for resubscribing on the channel here as well. Up unto 4 months. Much appreciated on that. And you are very welcome. I will continue to bash my head against the wall of this game until I break through to the other side to become the man in the wall. The man in the math, perhaps. The math in the wall. Something like that. Cheers. Yeah. If I have a quick gander at my 11.5-minute video on Tomcat exponential affliction scaling. What started as a guide to the Tomcat has become a deeper dive into the ludicrous scaling of Melee Afflictions. That video came out May 2025, so it's been 11 months, and I have basically forgotten all of the mathematical scaling with it. And I am very, very deeply concerned that at the end of the video, the last category is labeled DE+. Okay, is anyone against a quick, reaction stream segment to my own video to bring myself up to speed on that? Because I genuinely have forgotten, all of that. What did I find that required me to put D+ as a chapter? I'm terrified. So yeah, let's learn from me together. Guess what? Oh, this should be good. This should be good. Let's switch things around for that. Black screen for a moment. Sorry about that. For those of you who don't like to see your reflection on your phone. Right. You over there. Full screen. Right then. What is going on with this? I'm even going to kill the background music and whatnot. We're just going to go straight video side of things. I'm going to get YouTube writing to me later like, yo, copyright issue. Someone stole your video. And it'll be me again. That comes up every now and then when we do this. So, Tomcat exponential affliction scaling. What happened with afflictions and how can we use that to our benefit now? Give me the handle. There we are. With the slightly odd call for help from Vayhek, we recently were able to acquire the new Tomcat melee weapon, a set of Tomfers. It's LR9 and comes with base stats that mirror that, putting it below the power of the Cronin Prime, Praetos and Telos Boltace. It's an event item after all, it can only do so much. Quirk-wise, it has a weird ability where anytime you increase your combo tier, it gains a stacking heat damage bonus that is non-combining. Okay, so this might be the best Tomfer in the game, situationally. I'm Nick Engineer, let's solve a practical problem. Man, we've got so many non-combining bonuses these days. So many non-combining bonuses compared to highly used Tomfers, like the Cronin Prime and Praetos, the Tomcat has lower base damage, very marginally higher critical output, and then is either lacking in speed and range compared to the Praetos. I'm going to do us a favour and skip past the stats and Tomcat stuff. I want to know what's going on with Melee Afflictions. Here we go, Melee Afflictions basics. That's what we're here for. But that's not the only thing Tonfas can be good for. You see, there's this curious little arcane called Melee Afflictions. It humbly claims to apply 6 additional status stacks when enemies are knocked down or flung by melee attacks. Right.
6 more procs on its own sounds useful, I'm sure.
When we consider that Tonfa heavy attacks deal 2 hits, both with knockdown and guaranteed slash procs, it now sounds viable. But thanks to some wonky maths, it's downright broken. But let's walk you through this with as little complicated math as possible. Fair warning, there be numbers here.
I mean,
Here's
I'm
a screenshot
complicated
from
stuff.
the moment the Tomcat heavy attack lands. There are 2 core hits, both dealing 168 damage and applying slash procs. While they've appeared at the same time, the game does consider them to have landed one after the other. The other 2 hits we see, dealing 319
I'm already concerned.
and 534 damage, are also applying slash procs. These are the Afflictions hits, and are actually applying 6 slash procs with each of those hits. Given they're coming from the same heavy attack, why are they different numbers? The first heavy attack hit that registers delivers a slash proc. This proc is 35% of the base hit as proc damage per second, then multiplied by our status damage bonus and our faction damage bonus.
And that
When
hasn't
I say
changed.
base hit,
That's how it
I
still
mean,
works.
without any element or physical bonuses included, just straight up damage, faction buff, and critical buff. This is all completely normal slash proc mechanics. On landing that hit,
Wait. That's an armored unit. That's an armored unit. I'm sure I have my reason for ignoring the armor here, but that is an armored unit. The slash procs don't buff with armor, but the direct hit that I'm calculating it from has been affected by the armor. Okay, we're going to keep watching.
the enemy receives a knockdown effect. This triggers Afflictions. Afflictions checks the enemy for status procs and sees the 1 slash proc. It checks the damage that slash is doing, which in this case is 66.5% of the base hit thanks to the status damage mod on this weapon.
Okay, that's... I'm deeply concerned now. I'm deeply concerned that I've not addressed the elephant in the room, the elephant amount of armor in this room.
Afflictions removes the proc modifier of 35% and the faction bonus, if there was one, out of the value to effectively figure out the base hit that formed the slash proc. The weirdness is that Afflictions forgets to remove the status damage bonus. It thinks we have a base damage 90% higher than it should be. With this boosted value, Afflictions then hits the...
Okay, so I've accidentally got to the correct amount there because this direct hit is also affected by the armor. We'll take that, but I did overlook calling out the armor there. That is a significant part of it. That's a very rookie mistake to make, and tells me just how frustrating this must have been to research. And given that this was less than a year ago and I have no memory of it, that tells you just how frustrating this was to research. I have blacked it out. Oh no.
Enemy such that each new slash proc uses that newly calculated base damage, and then applies the 35% proc modifier, any faction bonus, and status damage bonus as is normal for a slash proc.
So again, that's incorrect. We've also got the extra DPS that's being applied because these are the numbers we're seeing on armor, but the slash amount wouldn't be reduced by armor. Oops!
So while faction bonuses are taken out and put back in, status damage has now been applied twice.
Yep.
We end up with 6 new slash procs, each dealing 90% more damage than the original they were based on.
Yeah.
In comes the second hit of this heavy attack. Once again, it applies a normal slash proc, and once again attempts to knock down the enemy. Afflictions triggers again, but this time sees 8 slash procs on the target. 1 from the first hit, 1 from the second hit, and 6 from the first Afflictions trigger.
I remember
Afflictions finds the base damage to
text.
all 8 procs, again forgetting to remove the status damage bonus, and divides it by the 8 slash procs to get an average base damage.
In this case, it ends up with a supposed base damage now just over 3 times higher than the original slash proc. Afflictions happily applies a hit to deliver this calculated base damage, delivering 6 slash procs, which again gain any faction and status damage buffs on the weapon. The faction bonus isn't stacking, but the status damage bonus is being reapplied. All told, the target enemy ends up with 14 slash procs on them. 2 of them deal normal damage, 6 of them deal 90% more damage, and 6 of them deal 218% more damage.
But not those values, those values are wrong.
I'm happy to tell you, is the weaker result of Melee Afflictions. Melee Afflictions has one more quirk in its logic that sends this setup to the moon. If we have other damaging procs on the target, Afflictions wants to duplicate those procs too. That much makes sense.
Yeah.
It'll go through the same process of calculating the average base damage of each
I think I know where this is going.
to see how much damage it should hit the enemy with.
It's coming back to me now.
It wants to use this to create the 6 new procs for each type. Just as before, Afflictions forgets status damage bonuses are a thing, and comes up with values that are much higher than they should be if you have that stat buffed.
Yeah.
Then, Afflictions does something stupid. Does it average out these different status types to get one super average hit?
I busted out the
simple?
shrugging gauss.
No. Does it hit the enemy multiple times? So Slash applies it with its own average, while Heat applies with a different average, to be as precise as possible? No. Melee Afflictions takes the calculated base damage of each of these procs and just adds them all together. So if the Slash procs were supposed to be based off 100 damage, and the Heat procs supposed to be based off 100 damage, Afflictions will apply a hit of 200 damage. Both the Heat and Slash just end up doing more damage, and only because the other one was also there. If the Heat was instead just 1 damage, say it came from a primer weapon, then the 100 Slash and 1 Heat combine for a base damage of 101 for both the Slash and the Heat. No matter the source, every extra damaging status type just means more damage. Crazier still,
this is going to be a fun stream to figure out everything.
And again trigger Afflictions, it'll now see that both the Slash and Heat have even higher average values. Once again add them together and apply yet another even higher damage set of procs. It'd be like if you wanted to know the average number of legs people had and got 4 people in a room. You count them up and see, yep, each of these people have 2 legs. So in total, that's 8 legs across these people. Somehow, you come to the conclusion that this means people have 8 legs and act like that's a normal thing to say.
I'm sorry. This image doesn't happen by accident. I want you to remember, this is how frustrated I was with Melee Afflictions, that I went to each of those frames, cut the legs off of them in a photo editor, and put it together. Just to make a point of absurdity. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to come up with such a stupid and pointless analogy. But I did. This was petty level frustration. It is slowly coming back to me, my experience of doing all of this. It's what your frame looks like when you put on Prime Sure-Footed. It's what your frame looks like when you just get all of those speed boosts stacked together. You just... all of the legs, all of the send. Which is also D's strategy when it comes to making new female heirlooms. Just all of the legs, all of the send. That's what you get. But in a very different way. Let's continue. This demonstration is with just Killing Blow, Melee Elementalist, and Valence Formation in action. Stack the bonuses some more, this scaling reaches into millions, even after armor. Now, to be clear, oh dear,
this is not a unique feature of the Tomcat. This is Melee Afflictions being weird, using a double-hitting, knockdown-procking, heavy melee attack, which all Tomfas can do. What makes the Tomcat an interesting candidate for this is that it can apply Slash, Heat, and your choice of Electric or Toxin with the same build. This means you can apply 3 different high damage status procs, each getting these crazy scaling boosts. All other buffs are nice
Pretty
and all,
fun.
but the core driver behind Affliction's ridiculous scaling is just status damage bonuses and multiple damaging status procs being present. The bigger the status damage bonus you can stack, such as applying heat from Thermal Transfer, Ripper's Wail, or Valence Formation,
the bigger base, this exponential scaling. Okay, so that's cool. That is cool and all. That's really great to know. Honestly, solid stuff. Thank you, past me. Now we know. Oh, it goes further, doesn't it? Oh, it goes so much further. Oh no. Oh, this is concerning. Okay, let's just switch that back around again, shall we? Just pop out of that. Come back to this. Okay. So. If we were taking that at face value, and for now we can, how'd I even figure that out? Effort. Too much effort. I don't get paid enough for this. Subscribe. Anyway. What we have here is a screenshot I took yesterday. This screenshot includes melee afflictions, but if we go on that melee affliction mathematics that I just called out, with indeed I did have a 90% status damage bonus on here, then it'll take the procs that I've landed, which was a slash and a electric proc, it'll just figure them both back, but go 90% more, and then double it because there's 2 procs it's considering, and then apply that damage to create the follow-up damage. And yet, that damage I'm looking at there, going from 131k to 161k, that's not that much more. There's this much more. So already I'm looking at this, I'm going, what is happening here? I think I have a bunch of elemental mods on that weapon, which is why it's not scaling as hard as it may have done so. But I'm going to need to go through that. But let's think for a moment. If we take this at face value, 161,292 damage, and let's say that is a no element buff number, that's a true number, then that'll give us a set of status blocks, 6 status blocks, each ticking 6 times. I don't remember if I had a status duration bonus on this. We'll call it 6 times for now, because it'll put us in the right ballpark of values. So we take that value, 161k, multiply it by 6 for the 6 procs of each type, multiply it by 6 for the 6 ticks each proc will want to have landed. We multiply it by then a total here of... I don't know if this is... That's going to be armor bypass, and the armor is not reduced on those targets. Let's multiply this by a total of 3.5 for the slash. That's 35% damage multiplied by 10, because this is reduced by armor tenfold. The slash proc would not. Plus the electric here, which is going to be 0.5. I don't remember if I have electric modding on there. I probably do. It's going to be in that ballpark of stuff. If we take all of those bonuses and stack them together, that's 161k multiplied by 6, multiplied by 6, multiplied by the proc modifiers, including the armor bypass. What I get is 23 million. I just mentioned Jaden, not sure on that. 23 million. Now here's the thing about 23 million. 23 million and 1.037 billion, the difference between them is literally more than a billion. The ballpark numbers I have just put together as to what could be coming off of this, and the numbers that actually happened, are literally a billion apart. So, we're talking somewhere in the region of a 50-fold increase over the already expected increases. Even if I apply things like the 90% status damage multiplier again, which I think should be applying there, so take it up to about double again. About double again is not about 50 times. So there is more going on. This isn't just affliction. There is more going on here. This isn't just harmony. There is more going on here. Now, the astute of you might understand why Voruna is also named as one of the suspects here. And indeed, I was using Voruna in this clip. It came from a Voruna video, this whole quick investigation as to what did I forget.
what has eluded me. And this requires us to start digging through some very untouched stuff. Or rather, if it is touched, it's been touched by people who have then immediately had an aneurysm and died, rather than tell us the results of their experiments. So we are going to be the ones doing those experiments. We are going to be the ones figuring out what indeed is going on here. Could I be asking Fangs of Rax? No, I didn't even cast Fangs of Rax there. But that also could make it better potentially, once I figured out what the moving parts are, actually. No, the only ability I used there was Shroud of Dynar. Shroud of Dynar, which at some point in the recent past has gone from setting your critical chance to 100%, if it is below that, to giving a flat 100% critical chance increase, and giving you a critical damage bonus. Could be a stealth bonus. Stealth bonus should be visible on the initial hits, where relevant. Should be also the operative word. I will tease apart these bits as we get there. If that becomes also separately relevant, aneurysm. So, let's go to Harmony. Now, I think I hit that target with this particular build, which, as we do see, has got a bunch of elemental modding on here. That would get in the way of various tests and whatnot, so we're going to go right back to basics. Going to go right back to basics, an unmodded Harmony. Surely this can be a starting point where we can get the basics as to what the hell is going on here.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would cry out in thanks.
I genuinely had forgotten the majority of what just came through on that Tonka video, but it's all come back to me now, thankfully. Not just what I said, but also how I got there. I'm remembering the pain. So, here's good old Harmony. We can do a lovely little heavy attack. It takes a long time because it's completely unmodded, but when it swings, it hits, it applies a 4 slash proc, it applies a knockdown, and then Harmony does its thing of, oh, did you knock someone down? Cool, let's just remove those status procs and make them happen now. So, let's see that in action. How jank is this so far? So far, I've had to reference a video I made 11 months ago, whereupon DE have done nothing to address it since. So, or at least not the math we're looking at. I didn't actually get to the D+ section. I'll leave that to you guys to go watch it and find out for the fun of it. Jade saying, hotfix December 2025 was a patch to the buff Voruna Shroud. Do we know that for certain? As in, that's when D posted it? Or is that what the wiki says is when the unannounced change was likely to have occurred? Because when you reference a specific hotfix like that, I wouldn't, or need to know, are you referencing DE said something? Because otherwise it's undocumented, and that goes back to where we were. Okay, so if I swing this here, yeah, not a lot seeming to happen. Let's improve the visibility of all of this. So we're going to go... Why am I doing that? Just surge damage. Bigger numbers, please, but also not compact numbers. I want to see everything. We swing, we hit. Okay, 1,903 leaned into 40k, but now we've got 317 leaning into a number. There we go. Oh, now it's 80k. And now that wasn't a crit, but there's still some orange going on. Just going to do another of these, and one more for good measure. There we go. Okay. Let's just back record that there. And as is so often the case with these things, I now need to open up my video editor. There it is. Give it a moment for that to load up. We're going to open up the video, the recording of that, into the video editor, and have a look at each of those individual hits, and try and figure out what just happened. Because we're at an unmodded, no ability buff, no companion, no relevant anything. Just Harmony. Surely
surely I can process just Harmony. So, the foreshadowing. Let's get this up on screen here. Right then. Don't worry about the old clips. I have a file specifically for just throwing these testing clips into, and then I'll delete them later. Jade saying that day after I saw it referenced on Reddit, shared those news to someone else. Fair enough. Okay. So referenced but not patch noted. Undocumented change. Cool. Okay. Yep, that is muted because we don't need to hear my voice throughout this. We need to hear my voice, not my voice. Makes sense. Yeah, make the damage numbers bigger. Bubbly, 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 bop. Right. So that first one there, the opening one. The opening one. 1,904 as a yellow crit. Simple tier 1 crit. Led into a hit of 40,003. Gotta remember the 3. And that was coloured orange for some reason. Now what's interesting is that there is that hit there as well. We got one here for 1904 into 40k, and one here for 1904 into 80k. I can only assume this is as a result of that 1904 being 2 slash procs, and this 1904 being 1 slash proc. It is the only explanation I can come up with at this point in time for that kind of thing to happen. And this is part of the issue where procs not showing the number of procs landed. They just tell you you got some amount of slash as part of this hit. So that's going to be fun to make our way through, isn't it? What else have we got going along here? We got a 317 which led into 6666. Truly the best numbers coming out here. You'd swear this was planned. And then we got a 432. I'm not sure why this one is a 432, but that one was a 317 non-crit. Can I see the hit mark? Hit mark is on body versus body. Yep. This is going to be a fun one. It's 317 into 6666 despite being yellow. Lower crit, no crit, but still higher damage and higher orange thing, but still nothing compared to the 80k that came out of this one. I'm starting to wonder how this is even yellow. How is that a yellow hit? That's clearly not a critical hit. Right? Because we'd see a lot more damage than that. But it's also somehow even lower than this non-critical hit that comes moments later. I'm saying maybe a stealth hit. I doubt that. I doubt it is a stealth hit. It could be, but like, if stealth, where stealth on minimap, and when we come to here, which is where the non-crit happened, no change in enemy alert status. Okay, And what happened after that? It was another 432 for 9076. Consistency. It happens occasionally. Inconsistently. And then after that was a 144? I beg your finest fucking what? And we follow that 144 up with a 144. Okay. Apparently Exo Gokstad officers are very armored against backshots. Just, yeah. That's a brand new sentence.
You'd ask if there's damage variance. This game doesn't do damage variance like that. It doesn't. And thank fuck for that. I actually would have just given up and covered a different game instead at that point. Just... So, my opening hit is a 1904 yellow crit, potentially, of 40k damage, followed up by a 317 for 6666 into a 1904 but now twice as strong, and thereafter then we just kind of tickle them into nothing burger level damage. So already, on an unmodded weapon with no ability boost, no arcane, no other anything, I'm already staring down the barrel of... Hue? Welcome to Warframe. If you're asking questions, you're asking for misery. Why does Harmony have damage variance? It doesn't. So let's start teasing apart these numbers, shall we? The best that I can, anyway. If we pop on over to the arsenal real quick, Harmony here has a 2.2 times critical damage multiplier. Very important to remember that. 2.2 times critical damage multiplier. So at any point that we think we may have a crit, we can compare that damage to what we think a non-crit looks like and try and piece out from that. We also know that a heavy attack has a 600% damage bonus for however much that may be relevant. And Naramon, because I have to have a focus school active, I have this one. I also have Voruna with nothing that affects melee. Nope, good. Good. Passive is irrelevant to it. Yup, because I was on the parkour passive. So let's just check Naramon. Naramon, let's see. Anything in here? Movement speed, Void Sling, performing Slammer's Operator. Nope. Transferring to Operator. Nope. We didn't use any of these abilities, so none of that is relevant. It's not relevant, didn't use that. Okay, cool, yeah, there's nothing here. Archon Shards, none that are relevant, but let me show you. We've got Starting Energy, Orb Conversion, and Casting Speed. So, no. No, that's a big fat noopity noop right there. So, our only modifier is potential stealth hits and a 2.2 times critical damage multiplier. That is the entirety of what we got to work with here. So if 1904 is indeed a critical hit, and at this point I'm starting to wonder if it even is, 1904 divided by 2.2, a non-crit of the same caliber would be 865. It's that 317 is breaking me just looking at it. That is a number there that feels like it just shouldn't exist. 1904 divided by 317 is almost exactly 6 times difference. So this one is hitting 6 times harder than this one. Did this one just not get my heavy attack bonus? Did I somehow unheavy my heavy? That's the only thing we have that's a 6 times damage bonus. Stealth is 7 times. Crit is 2.2 times. Headshot is 3 times. So the only thing I can think of, genuinely, is I managed to not heavy my heavy attack. So what damage does this weapon promise? On a heavy attack, it says 1,440, but that 1,440 is, yeah, it's the 240 multiplied by 6. So, it's that. Headshot on crit. Crit is 2.2, not a flat 2. No. Yeah, let's throw some light attacks in here real quick. 96, 48, 30, 51, 51 with a slash. Come on, I want a crit. Crit 112. What multiplier are we expecting on that forward swing like that? Forward swing, 200%. Right. We'll get to the backshot ones afterwards. Once we start to piece together what's going on, we can try and work our way through this. So I'm seeing a 1112 crit on a normal swing, which is on a 200% modifier, but this is on a 600% modifier. So that is 112 times 3, 336, 317, with a little bit of rounding as to how these things can happen because damage quantization is a bastard. Maybe that is indeed a heavy attack. And then this is something else. Cheers, bye. But that doesn't make sense either. That still doesn't make sense. And then we got this one here for 432. 432 multiplied by the crit multiplier. If it lands into a crit, I'll be expecting to see a 950 somewhere. Which is not that. This is twice a 950. It's not that. That is just lower. A third of 950. And... does Puncture Proc not do 25% more damage to target? No, Puncture Proc reduces target's ability to deal damage and increases your chance of landing a critical hit, was my understanding. Unless they added another bit that I forgot about in recent eras. Let's just verify my own knowledge there. Wiki, confirm please. Victim does less damage, and weapon attacks have increased crits. Yeah. And this is no afflictions. We are not even got that far yet. Intentionally not gone that far yet. And already you guys are seeing why I am struggling with this. We can land damage numbers that don't even have internal consistency, let alone the ability to calculate how we got there. Like, what is 144 versus 432? 432 divided 144. Yeah, it's exactly 3 times. Yeah. So, like, we're seeing a bunch of multipliers of this is 3 times more powerful than that. But why? They're both heavy attacks. And then this one, which is equal to that one, is a fraction of that. But this is a different fraction of it, whilst also being coloured yellow. I'm just... And again, stealth damage is 7-fold. Can I set up a stealth qualified hit if I go with Loki? Because we're going to use a lot of Loki. Does anything similar happen with other scythes? Honestly, whether they do or don't doesn't help me right now. The greater information is what the hell is even my hit in the first place. So let's just make sure this doesn't have anything that buffs or modifies my attacks. Don't think any of this will be relevant. Increased damage on slam attacks, but we're not going to be using slam, so that's fine. So yeah, this should be safe enough for the test. Okay, so a forward swing, 51, 51, and if I can do that, 51, 51, 51. Okay, so actually no change after going invis there, which is curious.
We said the base damage on this was 240. Let's see, against Corpus, Orokin, Infested, and Nama, we've got no damage bonus against Grineer here. So there's no modifier coming from that. We got 240 base. That should be 24 hitting their armor because these guys, well, these gals definitely have max armor. So 24 is expected. I'm swinging for 51. We've only got a 200% bonus from the stance, so there's a little bit of damage quantization going on here. But yes, Invis is not making any change there, so there's definitely nothing related to that. So I'm going to have to switch to Ivara and put one to sleep. And again, make sure none of this has an effect on my ability to melee. Corrosive Projection would, so let's swap that out for the moment. Okie dokie. This is only headshot damage bonus, so I should otherwise be safe. Yep, still 51 before I've done anything to them. That is good. Sleepy, sleepy times. Whilst that's happening, 112, 153, 112. Oh, that was a wrong attack. 51, 51, 112, and they've woken up. All three of them have actually fully woken up. They're all alerted. So Simulacrum is just handling that. Unless, wait, don't I need to touch the console to reset things? And then if I do this, 51, missed. 51, 51. No, that's not it. 51, 112. I'm not attacking murmurs because some of the murmurs have bonuses to crits for hitting different body parts, and that can get even more confusing. So we'll stick with these. Yes, they're armored, but if anything, being able to see the effect of armor in the process is helpful. It just, yeah, it's an extra thing to account for, but it is still helpful. At the very least, armor affects all damage that's not slash proc equally. So we shouldn't get any natural inconsistencies to worry about. Okay. If I just heavy attack right now, what do we get? 432 into a 9076. Right. And if I heavy attack from this side, 432 with a 9076. Okay. And if I heavy attack from this side, 144. You genuinely just have a 3 times damage reduction on the back? Who the hell has damage reduction on the back? Oh, that was on the front, so... Yep, definitely on the front, so now I just don't know. Y'all saw that. Now I'm just getting the lowest of the low numbers on the front. The 432 is a headshot? That didn't look like a headshot. The hit is in the body. What do you mean that's a headshot? Yeah, look at the top right. Top right, I've got Arcane Consequence triggering. Didn't trigger. 144. Did trigger, and geez, that was a big hit. So I'm actually headshotting. Despite aiming as low as I'm aiming, that was a headshot. Those are headshots. But the hit on them is looking like it's on the body, because if I show you, if I do body shot there, you see... Oh, aside from blocking happening, you see the marks on the body.
Stop being so good at your job, Burston. Let's get a really crappy weapon real quick. There we go. Right. When I hit them in the body, you can see that flash on the body. Yeah? That red flash. When I hit them in the leg, you see the flash on the leg. When I hit them on the head, you see the flash on the head. That's where the damage is hitting. And you can see the effect on the damage numbers as a result. That was on the body. That was on the body. That was also on the body. Both of those on the body. Now I'm just not going to hit the head at all, am I? All of that was on body hits. That was a headshot. What did I do different? Point of impact, arm, 144, swing. And then we see the red shimmer coming off the body. Same aim, pretty much. That's now deciding it's hitting up here, but also we're getting this flash down here, and then the red shimmer is erupting from the body again. Ah! So that's a fun one. Okay, so now we've got one part of the puzzle. We got one part of the puzzle. That part is that I am indeed actually sometimes headshotting, even when it looks like I am not. So yes, we can see here. Now I know that I'm looking for the green shimmer, not the red shimmer, despite the fact that the red shimmer is where you're hitting them. The green shimmer is actually where I'm hitting them with this goddamn weapon. And we see it there. Oh boy, okay, cool, right. So this hit, which we now know is a headshot and a crit, is therefore getting 2.2 times normal crit, multiplied into 4.4, then multiplied by 3, we're getting a 13.2 multiplier on this hit. Yeah, critical headshots are just that strong. Unmodded 13.2. Magical hit and multi-hit? No. No, right, no. We've already just answered what's going on with this one. So this is coming off of a base hit of 144, is getting critical headshotted into 1904. And that 144 we saw here. So we know that is an appropriate base that we are working from. Right. So this then, that must be a non-critical headshot. Big brain time, yeah. Headshot. Headshot. And this one? What do you mean that's where the damage is connecting? What do you mean? The scythe is on the entire other side of the enemy. I'm swinging in like this. What do you mean that is where the hit is? Oh my god. This game. Oh my god. Okay. Ooh. Right. I like guns. You point, you shoot, you hit, damage and death happen. Great. What is this? Oh. Honestly, Steve would look at this one. I think Steve would probably give me the same kind of response as he gave to Reb when Reb said that they were working on wall running. Steve would probably give me the oh, is it your turn? You don't want to look into that. I mean, you can go ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but you don't. I'll say I told you so. Oh. Man. Okay. Cool. So now we've got this. What appears to be a body shot is in fact not a body shot. We are hitting a bunch of other things. So this is a normal critical coming off of that 144 multiplied by 2.2, 316.8, which is 317 here. Did they scrap wall running? Yes. Yeah, they had delayed it, and then they basically just had to give up. And I think it was... I can't remember if it was on a dev stream or dev short, but Steve was very respectfully not saying I told you so, but definitely communicating, now you understand. And Red was just, yeah. Ain't that. It just ain't that. Okay, so now that we've got first bits figured out, we know that these are... Oh, no, that one. These are our most normal hits, our most unbonused hit. This is just good old hitting them for damage. Good hit! We're hitting them for 144. That is good. 240 multiplied by 6 divided by 10 is 144. This is good. This number is exactly what I expected and hoped it would be based on the information in the arsenal. So this is good. The arsenal is not lying to us. And if you might be wondering, Ken, does the arsenal regularly lie to you? Yes, it does. This is why I rarely use the arsenal for base damage numbers. I start by hitting enemies and looking for the values that should be happening. This is the value happening as it should be. So that is good. That is good. Also, fun fact, the arsenal doesn't seem to lie anywhere near as often with the Foreman, and that is another reason I love that weapon. Just putting it out there. Okay, so from 144 we then get this 3025 in orange. The thuck is happening now. So 144 is actually after armor, so it's 1440. Multiplied by 0.35 is going to be the estimated slash damage proc, which is 504 per second. Multiplied by 6, 3024. 3025 is basically that number. This is good. This is good. That is indeed the total amount of slash proc damage that this 144 hit would have led into. Excellent. So let's come across to this big hit here at the start then. 1904 times 10 times 0.35 times 6 comes out to 39,984. It says 40,003. Again, there's rounding and all kinds of stuff going on there. This directly relates to that in terms of total slash output. This is good. And so then my earlier assessment that this was most likely as a result of 2 slash procs happening continues to seem to be appropriate. This is an invisible second slash at the same time. We've got the guaranteed one from the heavy attack. We've got status chance throwing in another one as a treat. So far, all of these numbers can be accounted for now. We have headshots, non-headshots, critical headshots, and crits, all tying in to where the numbers should be. If we just run that last one there, that 317, should be 6657, 6666, yeah, within rounding errors. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. Brother only saying primary overcharge giving enough double shot and damage display bug in the arsenal as an example of it lying. Whilst true, that's not really what I mean by the arsenal lying. Those are bugs with the arsenal, and so the arsenal is telling you falsehoods as a result of a bug. Whereas damage quantization issues are the arsenal being correct in terms of the damage numbers as they're programmed, but the damage numbers as they happen in the game are different because the arsenal doesn't understand and has never had to trifle with damage quantization. It's like a translation error. The arsenal is telling you the original text in English, but then it gets handed over to the game, which translates it into Stevonian, and then once the game has processed it in Stevonian, it translates it back into English to be read on screen. And somewhere in the way there is a little bit of a loss in translation, and that's why you get a slightly different result. The game does not speak English, but is programmed in English, and that is why the arsenal lies. Okay, right. So, now that we can see that the slash consumption is correct, this is good. Let's work on the next bit of testing, which is, does the Harmony Heavy Attack do something weird if we have a status effect that is modded? Let's go with that question. So if we put on a bit of good old Toxin. Let's switch back to just having Voruna because Voruna is the suspect here, but we're not going to be using anything of Varuna's kit, and I already know that Varuna's New Moon build doesn't interfere with the testing. So this is good. So, just a Toxin mod. Do we see a significant change? What kind of change do we see? Okay, that was actually pretty much the perfect hit straight away. Let's have a look at what just happened there. Roll away past all of that lot. Okay, so we can see the initial hit itself. It appears to be striking the head, so this is a headshot. We've got a damage of 1148 with both slash and toxin procs happening. I couldn't have asked for better, to be quite honest. So we know that the weapon was coming from a base of 1440 before armor. It's 1440. Multiplied by 2.65 because of the toxin. Multiplied by 0.1 because of the armor. We're expecting a normal hit to be 381.6. Tripled into 1144.8. Rounding errors. This is good. This is good. The hit is where I expect it to be. So what's the proc? The proc, or rather the passive, the heavy attack result of Harmony, let's just call this Harmony, the Harmony effect is 12895. So for this we need to unpack as to what actually is happening with those status procs. The 1148 into slash and toxin is actually that same original 144 into the slash, and then 144 times 2.65 into the toxin, and both of these tripled by being a headshot. Bear with me on this. So 144 times headshot times slash times 10, because bypassing armor, times 6 ticks, plus 144 times 2.65, because toxin mod, times 3 for the headshot, times 0.5 for the proc damage, and then times 6 ticks. Total damage, I'm calculating there, is 12,506.4, and I've got on screen, nothing, 12,895. Again, there's that rounding going on. I could take the time to figure out how much more than 144 it is, but rounding be rounding. I'm not going to break my head over that right now. Point is, I am within a couple percent, so for whatever quantization wants to do with its life, we're on the right track. Can you borrow some of my brain storage? Nope, I need it. If you need to just store things, do what I do. Write things on loads of little strips of paper and strew them around your desk. So this is good. Adding in the Toxin mod, leading to a Toxin prog on the heavy attack, on a headshot no less, gave us the results we were expecting there. So far, so good. So before I go over to Afflictions, I want to test why this keeps on coming up as orange. I have a hypothesis, and rather than spell it out and then be disappointed if I'm wrong, I'm just going to do a test with one teeny tiny little change. One teeny tiny little change. How many random notes do I just find on my desk that remind me of weird math stuff I did? It's less so on my desk as the ones that end up falling behind my desk. And so I find them when I'm cleaning up later. And I go, wow, okay, judging by the notes on this, that was there 6 months. Not bad. Yeah. Right. Let's bring in what I just recorded there. What happened there? So this is once again a damn near impossible headshot. What is it with this weapon and headshotting really tall units when we are aiming center of mass? Yeah, man. But anyway, we come in the swing. There is our headshot. 14,192. It's a critical. It's a headshot. So we get a critical headshot, which is beautiful. It's a 4.4 times multiplier, and then a further 3 times multiplier, multiplying together because that's just how it works with our current setup. Great. Now, given that we just had a headshot over here, we just need to take this and multiply it by 4.4, and we'll be good, right? 4.4 on that, it's going to be roughly in the, 5-ish thousand? But it's 14,000, and that's because I used Voruna's ability. Let's remind ourselves on that. How much of a bonus does that give? A 3.98 times critical damage modifier, which is additive to existing critical damage modifiers. So at this point, it's actually better to go back and see what multiplier we got and back calculate how the game got there. 14,192 divided by previously 1,148 is a 12.36 increase. $12.36. Okay. Bite Bitson, thank you very much for dropping your prime here. Up onto 20 whole mums. Much appreciated, dude. Much appreciated. I just realised that comment is Virat. It's a jade weapon, so belly equals baby's head. That's not okay. And imagine if that's actually how this weapon is working. If hit belly actually hit head. God, imagine if that was an actual mechanic of this weapon we missed this whole time. Yo! Flowing Thoughts, thank you very much for the 40 months. You just had to 20 up bite there, didn't you? Thank you very much for the 40 months of support on the channel there. Joining the Proto Shark with my Proto Shark. Nope, you got me lost on that one. But I'm thankful all the same. Cheers. Bite is a Proto-Gen Shark. Okay, I was not aware of this. Oh. You know what? Yeah, the bite. Yeah, I'm going to not worry about it. Sure. Let's continue on. So, 12.36 multiplier between the non-crit and the crit, which means we need to figure it out along the way there. Now, if I divide that by 2 because of critical headshot mechanics, I'm getting 6.18. If we minus the 2.2 from that, which is what we're expecting from the weapon itself, I get 3.98. And would you look at that? 3.98 is indeed what Shrouded Einar gives us. The numbers are working! The numbers are working! So this is indeed the critical hit we were expecting on a critical headshot after everything else that has already happened so far. We weren't expecting a critical headshot, but we'll happily take them. Love it. So, what damage is in here? 14,192. I'm gonna need a notepad to keep track at this point. That's gonna be blocking partly by my head, so let's move it to this side instead. There we go. Right then. 14,192 with Toxin and Slash coming off of it. Andrew! Thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs out to the community. Much appreciated. That's gone out to Zeke, to Fuzzy Soup, to Without Doubt, to Pacer, and to Sisyphus. Or is that Sisyphus? Something like that. All the same, much appreciated there, Andrew. And I hope you have yourself a wonderful day. Cheers. Okay, 14,192 with a Toxin and a Slash. We know this 14,192 is inclusive of a 165% plus 165% Toxin bonus. So let's consider that back out again. 14,192 divided by 2.65. Without mod equals 5355.5. I'm rounding that to 1 DP. Rounding is rounding is rounding. I don't care anymore. Okay, so that means that the Toxin and the Slash should be skinning off of this number here. For the Slash, that'll be 5355.5 multiplied by 0.35, because that's just what Slash does. Multiplied by 10, because we're bypassing armor. And multiplied by 6 as a result of having 6 ticks of that Slash. Will give us our value. I'll calculate it in a moment. Toxin, on the other hand, will be the 5355.5 multiplied by 0.5, because that's what Toxin does. No armor bypass, but we do have 2.65 as a result of the Toxin mod, and then again the 6 ticks of it. When we get these bits and pieces together, you'll notice that I can actually bypass a little bit of this to just kind of go 5355.5 times 6, because of the 6 ticks on both of them, times Slash is 3.5. Toxin is half of 2.65, which is 1.325. So our total proc damage applied should be this. So if I just run that through without the rounding, because I've just got the result currently saved on calculator, times 6 times the brackets 3.5 plus 1.325, we get 155,040.9. And those of you watching carefully might notice that this number here is not this number here. Something else has happened. All the way up to this point, all of this math was mathing, and now, right here, it has stopped mathing. So, let's compare what numbers we've got versus what number we expected, and find the difference, or rather find the ratio. And again, I'm using the more precise number on the calculator. That is a difference of 2.426 to 3dp. $2.426 that is not a number that relates to basically anything. By saying doesn't Harmony passive increase damage on its expedite? Hold up, yeah, did we have a buff active at the time? No, we did not. only Shroud of Dynar. So nothing from Harmony was different to what it was before, and we have been testing step by step to see what was happening. So nothing that we have covered so far should have changed. The only thing that changed, and is now leading us down a path of, wait, what? Is Shroud of Dynar. Nothing else. Only Shroud of Dynar. But Shroud of Dynar is a 3.98 critical damage bonus, so that's not this. This is less than that. Extra slash proc? Oh, fair point. We may have had an additional proc along the way, mightn't we? We need a lot of extra procs along the way, though. And we couldn't have had an extra slash proc because we had the toxin proc, and this weapon doesn't have over 100% status chance. So no, we couldn't have had an extra proc. Are we taking the 4 slash from Voruna into account? Oh. Maybe we could have had an extra slash. Last burn, yes. Okay. That's frustrating. Right. That's a fair point. So, yeah, if a 1 does indeed give us a 4 slash, assuming that procs in addition to the 4 slash of the weapon itself, which is the thing. I'm going to verify. Is that ability proc? You can say this, but I'm going to verify. We're at the point of too many things are weird. I'm going to just verify. Just give me an empty slot. Right. This has multiple forced slashes. Seven. Hit with force. Hit with status. Hit with Voruna. Hit with force. Hit with status. Hit with Voruna. What? 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 Why are there 7? Why were there 7? 4 I was expecting. 5 and 6 I would accept, but... And Baspian, now you see why we test these things, because... 6 and a puncture. How many hits am I actually landing? I'm only seeing 2. Oh. Right. No, I'm a dumbo. It's me. I'm the fault here. Guys. Voruna forces slash and gives an absolute 100% additional status chance. Right. So Blaspion, this is why we don't shortcut our explanations and just go, trust me bro, this is ability status. No. It's a force slash proc and it's a 100% slash increase. Right. Brusky. Okay. Which means, if we come back to this real quick. this has the force slash from the heavy attack, force slash from the Voruna, and then there is a chance of yet another force rolled slash or toxin in here, and we never ever see it because the game just refused to tell us this stuff. So let's see if I can figure out which combination it was, which means I'm going to need to do these independently anyway. I'm just going to shove that into my browser and let it tell me the answer. Excuse me. Okay. What's Afflictions Harmony? Harmony with melee afflictions. Right. So this number needs to get to this number. If we applied another slash to it, which is the far and away bigger portion of this whole thing, 155040.9 plus 112465.5 gives me 267506.4. We still need more, so it must have been another slash box. If I multiply by 2, the calculation here comes out to 379971, and this is 376091. So it's within rounding errors. So yes, this is actually 3 slash procs. This is why this looks so wild, is because this is actually 3 slash procs, and the game just doesn't tell us. Okay, we got there. Now this is good. This is very, very good news. And now we know that this orange hit here, despite it being orange, despite us applying a further critical damage bonus, this isn't increasing beyond its station. It's not multiplying with that crit damage bonus, which is what I was beginning to suspect might be happening. It's just that there's so much extra slash in here. Blastbeard saying, okay, but the wording of Varuna's 1 says 1 slash block force per hit. Does it not take 2 hits into a heavy attack? No, Blastburn, yeah. What are you stuck on? Blastburn. The heavy attack from the Tonfas moments ago that we saw there was 2 hits, both of them with the forced slash from the weapon itself, both of them with a forced slash from Voruna, both of them with a 100% chance of landing a status effect in itself, and then there was an extra one rolled on one of the 2 attacks, we don't know which, don't care which, as a result of status chance. You miscounted, that's fine. We're good. So, this is 4 fucking status effects going on. Forced weapon, forced Voruna, guaranteed status chance, additional status chance. Yep, 4. Jesus. I have no clash point though. Okay, so we're getting somewhere in figuring this all out. Now we know that Varuna's Shroud of Dianar is not interfering with the calculation any further than it should. It's only buffing our crits and our status. It's giving us a hell of a lot of crit and status, absolutely, but it's not doing it beyond expectations. The math so far is mathing. But we are starting to work with more and more hidden features, which is not great. Molten Toast Wizard saying, so would melee duplicate double dip with the extra slashes from Varuna's 1? Melee duplicate means you hit again. Nothing else. Anything else that happens on hits, happens on hits. All it says is, did you land a yellow crit? Cool, hit again. That's it. Toro saying, may I suggest using Softly Fragments for testing to eliminate random headshots in the equation? Good idea. Not going to do it because, you know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. Let's stick with one enemy so that there's no other hidden mechanic that we might then have to calculate around. At least with these enemies, we can see where our hits are landing and acknowledge the results of them. It's just safer to stick with what we've got. Whew. Okay, so next thing to add to our test. is to replace Arcane Grace with Arcane Crepuscular. Now, this should only improve our critical damage on our attack. Nothing else about the weird other stuff going on with the Harmony passive, so we should just see slightly bigger numbers again. Nothing crazier than that. Just slightly bigger numbers again. And at this point, I believe that is what's going to happen. But let's see if we can make that happen. Right, I've got the wrong weapon equipped. There we go. Right. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. Okay, she kind of perished from that one, but that's okay. We've got plenty more where they came from. Did I land yet another unaimed headshot? We're about to find out. Also, oopsie, that bot did not load correctly. Let me just fix that. One moment. Yes. Sugar Main saying, just stopping by to say your body A vids are absolute peak along with other vids. Just say stopping by. Now you're testing crap. I'm sticking around, lol. Fair enough. I mean, welcome to stick around. Your body A vids. Oh, your Voruna vids. Right. Got it now. Got it. Yeah. You went to hit Voruna. It's early, hit space, and then it auto-corrected Voru to body. Fun stuff. Welcome on in. You are having exactly the same kind of experience we're having today. Stuff just breaks. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is what everyone comes for. To watch me have an aneurysm trying to figure everything out. Alright. That is some chonky numbers. That is not a headshot. Because we saw a headshot on this one. Was it that one? No, not on this one. I landed 14k. But with the same weapon, same approach, we've now got 3513. So, let's piece this together. At the moment of the swing, we have Arcane Crepuscular. It connects, and then the Arcane goes away. So we do have the Crepuscular bonus. So let's add this all in then. Hey. So previously we knew that we had, with our various critical bonuses and blah 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 blah, 14,192. That came off of the back of 1148 into crits. So 1148 is actually our base. That's actually really helpful. There it is. 1448 base headshot. We didn't land a headshot this time, so we divide that by 3. 114 divided by 3. 382.67. Yes, go on, you Gen Zers, have at it. 382.67 non-headshot. Then this got its crits. The crit was a yellow crit. We have the 2.2 base plus the 3.98 Voruna. No, it's not 3.98. We've got Crepuscular giving us a strength bonus. I think. Ooh. I think? No, wait. Would Crepuscular activate in time to buff the strength of Shroud of Dynar? Let's run the numbers both ways and see which one seems more accurate. Let's find out, shall we? Plus the 3 from Crepuscular. Logical thought would be no. But also it could be yes. The problem with logic with this game is that it only applies if the game decides so. So crit multiplier, assuming Crepuscular does not give its strength bonus, will be 2.2 plus 3.98 plus 3, which is a total of 9.18. However, it could also be... let me see, this will be 3.98 plus 0.3 times 2. That. It could be one of those two. Yeah, let's find out. 3513 is 3513 divided by 382.67, 9.18. So this is the correct one. So let's just make a note. Crepuscular does not buff the strength of Dinar if Dinar is our source of invis for Crepuscular. Huzzah! Crepuscular doesn't work on Voruna. Incorrect, Oriel. Incorrect. It can work on Voruna if you have a source of invisibility of some other type first. If that other invisibility is present, say you've got a Huras Kubro that has made you invisible, or you've got a Ivara Quiver that has made you invisible, and yes, you could subsume them on if you would really want to go that far, then you are invisible, you get the Crepuscular buff, you can get the strength buff on your 1, and your 4 doesn't break your invis, because your invis is not from your 1, so it doesn't break it. And so you get Crepuscular the entire time. This game. Right, so Crepuscular does not buff blah 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 blah. This is 9.18 crit, we confirm that. 3513. Therefore 3513 is matching in, that is nice and normal. So let's work from there. We know that 3513 is our expected hit. Expected crit. A lot of hoops to jump through to get the arcane to work. There's not like a lot, but it is annoying. The ones you have to go through, yeah. This means that if we decompose this, if we do divide by 2.65 equals 3513, 1351.15 base crit without toxin. Which means then, similar to what we did up here, slash is 1351.15 multiplied by all of this lot. Toxin is 1351.15 times all of this lot. And so the prop stack thingy bobs that come from it are 374.15 and yep, 1074.1.64. So far so good. Hydration? Thank you. Yes, out of tea already. Gods. Well, we are halfway through stream, but yeah. It will end. I can shrink down your comment. I can shrink down your comment and you'll still be completely accurate. It's a bit confusing if you don't properly understand exactly how things work. The rest of your comment is actually superfluous, as just another way to come to that same conclusion. Welcome to Warframe. If you think you understand it, not good enough. For those of you who missed, the start of this stream was me going back to my video 11 months ago that I forgot I made, which explained one part of all of this. And it's a part that we've not even got to yet. This is going to be very, very messy. Okay, so what we've got here is our decomposed proc damage outputs of 28k and 10k plus bits, and somehow with an amount of slash and toxin, this led to 460k. I got the math wrong. I got it slightly wrong, yeah. I did get it slightly wrong in that video. I forgot to remove the armor effects on slash proc. Not in a way that mattered to the conclusion, but in a way that mattered to those who wanted to follow every step of the demonstration. Unfortunately. So, We got 40,000? If it was 40,000, this would be a lot easier. 460,469 damage coming off of these procs being combined. However, these numbers aren't remotely close to that. Even if this was one toxin and a million slash, well, not a million, but one toxin and the rest slash, if we take out one for the toxins, 460, 469 minus 107, 41, round it to 42, and then divide that by the 28,374, this is still calculating as like, oh yeah, you landed about 16 slash procs. We know, all of us know, I did not land 16 slash procs, did I? It just didn't happen. So something else did. And I think it's Crepuscular. What if this 460k got a critical bonus from Arcane Crepuscular? What if this 460 orange was indeed a tier 2 crit, but that crit normally has no critical bonus whatsoever, and then Crepuscular comes blundering in and gave it one? If that is the case, then this means that we would have not a 4 times critical damage, but a 7 times, because it's orange crit. And if I divide this by 7, that would be giving us a working number of 65,781 instead, which looks far more likely to actually be made of these components. Indeed, if I take 28,374 plus 28,374 plus 10,741, I get 67,490, which is within the ballpark of this number. Rounding is happening. The rounding is starting to look a little bit ugly, so you have to take it on faith with me here. But yeah. Couple that's been following you for a very long time, Warframe. Welcome into Twitch stream as well. Hope you enjoy your stay here. Well, say I love how you try to explain the numbers you see with concrete math. Aren't happy with it until you can definitively explain it. I mean, yeah, basically, yeah. Because if you can't explain something, you can't say you understand it. It's just straight up it. Imagine if D hired Ken to do better descriptions of abilities in game. Oh man, could you imagine? Just have me on as a bit of a consultant every now and then. Just like, hey, here's how these things interact. How do we explain that to people? No, you describe what's happening. That's how. It's like this. Ah. Oh, right. I would need a pretty damn cushy salary to go through and keyword Warframe at this point. I would love to do it, but I would need to have salary and authority to be able to take such a swing at the game. But anyway, you'll give me 10 plat? I might pass on that one, but thank you for the generous offer, Shugo. So, is there anyone here who would like to contest an alternative as to how this 460k damage happened, based on all of the evidence that I have shared with you throughout the last 1.5 hours of testing? And if you missed part of that, then check with it before you make a contest on this. Is there anyone who would contest my assessment that Arcane Crepuscular was actually giving this a 7 times motherfucking damage bonus? Was Varuna's 1 crit boost? Not what happened here. Varuna's 1 crit boost is 2 times multiplied by strength, does not get the Crepuscular buff as we've calculated here, was part of the 3513, but was not part of previous tests as to impacting the damage bonus. I thought it was, but then we found out it was actually just more slash. If that brings you up to speed. So this is crazy. Arcane Crepuscular increases the damage from Harmony's heavy attack passive 7-fold. No more ifs and buffs, no more running around in circles trying to calculate stuff, no other conditionals, thankfully. It doesn't matter what crit you landed. It doesn't matter what status effects you were applying, how they were dealing the damage, what army you're up against. Just bam. Did I try another invis? I did try invis with Ivara, Loki, and Voruna to get us to the point where we are verifying this information right now. So bases have been heavily covered. Hello there, Fia. Welcome on in. Oh, God, I need a moment to just kind of finish processing everything I've figured out so far. Alright. Cotton saying, hello, how's it going? Thank you for showing me the Maduro bug. Got mine day after with some grinding. Nice. Hope you enjoy it. Okay. Now that we know that Crepuscula is having that effect, and we know how Afflictions works, I think I'm going to take a swing at it. This might be a little bit wild. I'm going to take a swing at it. Let's go back to the original screenshot that was ready to break my brain. Where did I put it? There it is. Let's come back to this. I think we might be ready to digest what the fuck happened here to turn 131k damage into 1 billion. Is that his phone number of damage? Please do not dial 1037480192, but if you do happen to dial it, with or without your country's dialing code, I am mildly curious as to what comes up. And if it's not safe for work, please don't share. If you happen to call the Pentagon, you did not get it from me. Ah. One ad goes by, now we're hitting billions. Welcome to Warframe. You apply one extra buff. Death. Death happens. So, let's process this. And to process this, we do need to understand what the hell build I was even utilizing. It was indeed a Crepuscular Voruna. It was without a prior invis, so we know how that applies now. I'm fairly certain it was a follow-up heavy attack, because Harmony's buff lasts for 30 seconds. It doesn't say there, but it does. Seriously, why would it not say how long it lasts? But we're fairly certain. In fact, hold on. It triggered here. Ah! Yeah, 30 seconds. See, even if you don't tell me things, I will find them. And I will be very annoyed every time I have to go finding them. We got it. Okay. And it was this build that I used it on. Because I just went, where's a heavy attack build? Oh, this is a heavy attack build. All right, off we go. So, we have 60% viral, which is elemental damage, part of the elemental damage equation, but was not applying a viral proc. We have 150% electric, which is part of all the mathematics going on. And we got this 90% status damage, which, oh boy. Yep. There's various bits and pieces going on here, and then damage bonuses and crits and whatnot that aren't going to be too relevant. But we do also see that this is here. I think that's 4.24. 2.1 times 1.9. Nope, 4.18. My bad. I knew it wasn't exactly 4.2, but I misremembered. This is a 4.18 crit damage. Need to consider that. Okay. So, why do I have a ping? Is it DE coming to kill me? It's not. Okay. Mods, if you're not already dealing with it, can one of you deal with the ticket on the Discord, please? And thank you. I'm assuming we have a mod here who can handle that ticket on the Discord. Alright. So, this lot can go away. Actually, no, bring it back. We'll just work underneath it, just in case. Right. So we got 60% viral, 150% electric, 90% status damage, 4.18 times crib multi. And I think that is going to be everything of relevance right now. Yes, good. Okay. Yeah. Now, I was having a look at the Melee Afflictions page on the wiki prior to the stream. Obviously, why wouldn't I, given what weirdness is happening? And there were some things that concerned me. Apparently, some elemental modding can increase the damage of procs applied, but others do not. Thankfully, I think we're working with the ones that just work. No further questions asked. I think. But here's the damage calculation steps. For each status proc, find the modded base damage of every status proc on the enemy for each status effect, which is what I covered in the Tomcat video. For each status effect type, sum all of the averages we've calculated, as covered. Affection damage hit is the instant damage caused by that sum, and it gains further damage bonuses, which is your malefaction damage bonus comes in. Kind of semi-typical stuff. And then affliction damage hit is used to find the DOT of all the status effects present. Modifiers are considered the same as a normal calculation for respective damage attack types. Faction bonuses and status damage bonuses are applied again. Elemental modding is applied where applicable for toxin electricity. Heat doesn't unless it does. And blast is... blast is blast. But luckily, it looks like we're only using the important stuff. That is... touch every kind of wood I have here. It appears to be consistent. So... let's figure this through. We have a 131-315 hit with some amount of slash and some amount of electric. Yeah, something like that. We know that this 131, 315, blah blah blah, that hit has crit of 4.18 from the weapon. Crepuscular was used, so that's 3. And we have Voruna's ability, I was on that build, which has a 3.98, which we verified earlier, it had to be the 3.98. Because Crepuscular does not buff blah 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 blah. All of the stuff we figured out just moments ago. Okay. But we've also verified that the crit shouldn't really matter too much, so that's just kind of there for post-calculation reasons, if anyone wishes to digest what is happening there. Now, the procs incurred, because Afflictions considers them separately, we don't need to know yet how many of each happened. We just need to know how big each one is. That 131315 is including a total of 210% elemental. So we have 131315 divided by 3.1, oops, because that's taken out a 210% bonus. That gives us our non-elemental base with the orange crit and all the crit bonuses, blah blah blah, of 4235 point. Oh god, it's back 68. Thank you, rounding, for saving us there. Right. If you're struggling to keep up, no, I am struggling even harder. And I'm the one who has to keep up with it. The slash, therefore, must have been 42359.68 multiplied by 0.35, the basic effect, not 6535, multiplied by 10 for the bypass of armor, multiplied by, not 6, there's the status duration bonus of 30%. 6 times 1.3 is 7.8. So it would be 7. Because the 0.8 doesn't lead to another tick. So theoretically it should be times 7. The electric will be times 8. Because. Hello, Templar Warden. And then times 1.9 for our status damage mod. Which gives us... I'm going to need to make this even wider somehow. I'll just put it on a new line. Which gives us our slash of 1971843.1. I'm not even going to put the decimal place at that point. We're 7 sig figs in. That's precise enough. Rounding will eat our face first. Electric, on the other hand, is going to be 42359.68 multiplied by 0.5 because it's electric, not slash. No armor bypass. 8 ticks because of the 30% increase. It's just where it lands. Multiplied by the electric bonus. Multiplied by the status damage bonus. Which then gives electric its total proc damage per electric proc of... Google, I hate you. I'm using Google as the quick calculator for this, and it has decided to switch from using a calculator into AI mode, and I hate that. Ew. Why would you do this to me? I will just type it in to here then. I appear to be missing a thing here. There we go. Okay, there we are. This comes out to 804834 rounded. I'll just make that a little bit more readable for everyone. Okay, so we can see that despite the electrical modding bonuses, the armor bypass for slash is just so very strong, it's still landing a higher amount, but not like crazy higher. It's only 2.5, not even 2.5 times higher. So that's fine. Sure. That's the proc damage. And that means then that afflictions will be using these numbers. It won't care about how many of them are there because they're all going to be the same amount. If I landed 7 slash procs or 1 slash proc is irrelevant. The average of all procs when they're coming from the same source is going to be the same as any first one we calculate. So that saves us a lot of mathematics. It means then that afflictions is going to base its approach on these numbers. That is 1971843 plus 804834, which comes out to a total of 1971843 plus 804834. Oh, but no, it's not. No, wait, it's not going to straight out those. We need to do the steps. God damn it. From Revenant 1 saying, I have an embarrassing amount of hours in this game, and I know an embarrassingly little amount about how this math works. How do I even start to get a handle on it? Like, copying people's builds is inefficient when you lack a knowledge base, since they're assuming you know about a bunch of the synergies they are mentioning. So, a Revenant 1, you've got 2 ways of going about that. The first and fastest way is to stop copying people's builds and start copying my builds. And I know that might sound a little bit full of myself, but the reason is, when I put builds into videos, and I'm sure a lot of people here will attest to this, I don't just give you the builds, I explain why we're doing this. I give you the reasons we get there. So that if there is something you're interacting with, if there is a crucial element of the setup that you need to also utilize, you're not going in blind. You're not just copying the mods off of Overframe or something. You've got yours truly saying, this goes with that, goes with this. And if I don't mention it, it's because it's not important. But If you would like the longer option number 2, it really comes down to doing what I've been doing throughout this stream, which is you go through step by step. You find the moving parts you're applying, and you just check out, okay, so how does this apply? You can start by reading the wiki on individual ones, looking into the damage formulae on there. You can test things for yourself, and every step along the way, you run the numbers yourself, you see what happens in-game, and if those numbers are different, you figure out why. That is the nature of it. Step by step by step, you go through the process, and as I say, that's what we've been doing a whole stream for one interaction, or rather one interaction from 3 things, all of which are weird. Actually, I suppose it's now 4 things, all of which are weird. Point is, it is a hell of a lot of process. It is complicated. The vast majority of people don't ever worry about this. They just kind of go, hey, did you do 1 billion damage? Cool, what's the mods? Thanks. Bam! Billion damage. And if that's all you want from the game, I got you covered. If you want to know how we got there, I got you covered. But it ain't gonna be easy if you want to figure it out yourself. That's how I've managed to do this for 6 years. And I come from a background of serious attention to both numerical and statistical detail. I got a leg up on it. Right, so with this, we're up to the melee afflictions bit. We've got our 2 proc calculations happening in the orange procs here. We need to figure out the averages as afflictions cares for it. So there's weapon-based damage, faction damage, of which there is none, status damage considered. So yeah, that is that. So we got slash scalar. Where are we coming from? I don't really have a better word right now. Slash scalar is indeed that 1971843. Nothing more really we need to do with it. Electric scalar, however, is not going to be the 804834. That's got an electric multiplier in here, which we don't actually care about. Also, I've got... Actually, wait, no. Yeah, I've got the total procs included. We need to bring that down by 7. Steps and more steps. 1.8... This is actually 281.691.9. So the 42359... No, not that. Yeah. 42359.68 multiplied by 0.5 multiplied by 1.9. Yeah. Yep. So the electric scalar is only 402 for 1.7. Trust the process. Once we've got these, we get the average, which these are the average. That's fine because it's 1 of 1. And then afflictions damage hit should supposedly be these 2 added together. Supposedly 402 for 1.7 plus 281 691.9, which is 321,933.6. But this is 161,292. Which is, dare I say, suspiciously half. That is suspiciously halved. Yeah. Hypothesis. This appears halved because it is indeed halved. As much as I am adding these 2 together here, did DE fix the addition? It's possible I'm just doing this wrong. But did they fix the addition? There's no patch note about it. At least none recorded by the wiki. Wiki is usually very good at keeping up on patch notes. Ooh, okay. More work is required. Now, there are loads of ways we can test this. What we're going to do is, I believe, daggers have a knockdown on the heavy attack. Ah, it's only on the second one. Never mind, let's not use a dagger then. I was wanting to avoid using the tonfas because they have multiple hits. Chat, if any of you know offhead a... Oh wait, I could just use a different scythe than the Harmony, yeah. I could just use a different scythe, that's fine. Scythe category 8? I've got an incarnate on it, that might be problematic. Let's hope it's not. Alright. That's got a knockdown. And then I want electric on here. Okay. Now, if I just swing this as is, I'm not going to get multiple procs, am I? No, I only got the... Yeah, I only got slash. So I'm going to need to use this. Record. Swing. Perfect. Perfect. That's what I needed to see. Okay. Ooh. Well, that's a decidedly similar number, isn't it? Okay. Well, let's run numbers and see what happens. So we'll come back to this one. So we got a 2653, which is including a 90% electric bonus. So without electric, it's just divided by 1.9. The base hit is a 1396.3. And then, God, some of this process was just previously done. Slash proc is 1396.3 slash scalar times 0.35 times 10. Yes? No? Do we use the times 10? Actually, we can get to this without armor. Yeah. So without armor, that is 13963. Yeah. Slash scalar 13963 times 0.35 times that no longer applies. That doesn't apply. That doesn't apply. It's just that. Electric scalar is this again, 13963 times 0.5 times 1.9. Now 1.9 coming from the elemental mod. Wait, do we apply the elemental mod at that point? Hold on. No, we don't. No, we don't. No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't, right? Oh god, there's so many bits. So many moving parts. Why is the game like this? We account for the base damage, which doesn't include the elemental modifiers. Uh-huh. To get the average status proc without the elemental modifiers. Yep. Then apply affliction damage hit is the instance of damage caused by melee afflictions and is the sum of all the status for average damage multiplied by melee faction damage bonuses. So it's the sum of each of those. And faction, again, I'm not seeing element. Yep. And then the damage tick includes the element. Only then. Yeah. Okay, good. Right. I'm following. I might have... I'll double check if I've done things right up here in a moment. I think that number might be wrong. I'll come back to that. So, the original way this was is they would add these together. 6981.5, which equals 488.7.5 plus that. 11868.55, which would then be affected by armor to bring it down to 1186.855. But I'm seeing 2674, so whatever I thought I was about to get, I was just wrong. Shit. What am I doing wrong? Take it from the top. Base hit. After armor. Taking out the elemental bonus to get the actual hit without electric bonus. After armor. Change that into before armor. Get the amount of property implied before armor. Get the amount of property implied before armor. Not counting the electric bonus because the electric bonus shouldn't be there to account for, I think. Yeah, weapon base damage. Times base damage bonuses, faction bonuses, status damage bonuses, additional multipliers, which includes critical hits and enemy body parts. Faction only applies once. Yeah. Trusting it. So we get these, it says, add them together. That's the affliction's damage hit, it says. That is not the affliction's damage hit. Ah, shoot. Where's your impact? How much damage does an impact proc do? That's a standing enemy, so you'll say not yet at afflictions. Does that answer your question, Clashpoint? It may look like a standing enemy, but that's because it's frozen. This is a still. Time has been paused. So why am I coming up with 11868, which then after armor is 1186, but the landed hit is 2674? That's far too high. It's weirdly close to crit damage too high. And I don't like that either. Oh, wait, no. Crit damage on this is 2.5, not 2.2. Okay. But still. It's wrong in directions I can't yet figure out. None of that is active or effective or relevant. Damn, I thought we were close here. I thought we were close, and now I'm further confused. Shit. Add another swipe. If at first you don't succeed, get more data. That was exactly the same. Which, I mean, it's consistent. That's what we've been asking for this whole time, right? Consistency. Yellow of 2653 into Afflictions 2674. Which is exactly what happened there. Exact same. Okay. I'm trying to think through every avenue as to how this could be happening right now. And we can see the total electric hit there. All 7 electric procs is 16509. We can see that the slash hit happens a second later. Simultaneously with the, or near simultaneously with the next. Yeah, simultaneously with the next electric proc. The slash is 65502. Maybe I need to use that to help me better understand what I'm getting here. We're nearly there. We're so close, chat. So close to having this answered, but so close is not yet there. Okay, looking at the procs, 8/7 electric, we can deduce from this how many procs are actually there in the first place, because we apply 6 of each from Afflictions, which means there's 2/1 electric. The good news about not using Harmony is we can still see that. Hello, Devaki. Have you just... Oh, it's that time of the evening, isn't it? You've just been looking for the drops from Warframe International, haven't you? Warframe International, who usually stream up until about 6 minutes ago, if I recall correctly. Correct me, someone else in chat, if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, so 2/1 electric, plus then 6 of each added on. So... I should be able to backtrack how much damage we expect them to apply here. 2653 on the initial hit, which has 2/1 electric coming off of it. That 2653 is 2650 roughly before armor, which would lead to a slash then of 26530 times 0.5 times 2. 18571 slash and times 0.5 times 1.9 times 0.1 because of armor. 2520 of electric. And then we get 6 more of these. And this, we go from 2 to 8, so effectively 4 times that. So I'm expecting a slash to be 74284, and I'm expecting the electric to be 17640. And what did we actually get? Oh, that's quite different. Oh, wait, that's because this has electric in it. Oops, my bad. I mathed wrong. I mathed wrong. I'll fix that. Sorry. Ajax! There's our Ajax Stone Cougar. Thank you very much for dropping your prime here. Much appreciated. Welcome to the channel proper. Enjoy your lovely blue sub badge. Your emotes, your access to the supporter tea lounge over on the Discord, and no more ads for you. Ooh. Cheers on that. Right, my bad here. This is including electric, so if we take out the electric, which is divided by 1.9, that gives us 13963 before armor. So slash proc each is 13963 times 0.35, 4887. Elect proc is going to be 13963 times 0.5 times 1.9, because I had 90% electric belt on there, but then armor removes 90% of that. 1326.45. I'm just going to put the decimals on because I can. And so, afflictions should be applying the same amount because they were... Nice use of the word should, Ken. We'll come back to that. Afflictions may have applied them at the same amount, so if it did, 4887 times 8 procs, slash would be 39096. No, it's not. Okay, so I can stop that thought there. Based on the other understanding as to how afflictions works, if we have a 1393 before armor causing slash proc of 4887, the electric was 13265 with its bonuses, but without mod and without armor, that is what's above my poor head. And 1.5. 4887 plus 6981.5 is equal to 11868.5. So afflictions is acting like the proc damage is 11868.5. Right? Status effect average damage, number of these. Oh, I need to remove their status multipliers, my bad. So it's that. When did I hit insert? Oh, bollocks to it. There we go, that and that, which now actually equals 27925.9. Okay. So if that's what Afflictions thinks the hit should have been, I've calculated a little bit higher than that, because that take off the armor would be doing 2792. It says 2674. So I could be in the right ballpark and just damage quantization is messing with me and rounding, or I could be incorrect here and just happening to have a similar looking number. I hate that. There are so many moving parts. I am honestly struggling with this one, but I think I'm on the right track. So if that is the hit applied, we'd see 27925.9, which after armor is 2795.3, call it. Elwick Oswald saying, thank you so much for the Atlas build. That Kavat build absolutely slaps. However, I was wondering if it would be compatible with Valkyria, since she wants similar stats for Exalted Weapon. Fairly certain I did. Oh no, I didn't do Valkyria. No, I didn't. I'm going to say probably yes. Valkyria takes a different approach to Atlas, but considering the moving parts there, it should give you, if not optimal, it should give you about the same kind of this'll do a lot of power result, yeah. So yeah, you can certainly give that a try there, Elric, and see if it carries over. Template say if you want to check on your method, would you test on a different enemy? It's more making sure I've got a robust understanding of what I think is happening to then have something to test. At the moment I'm holding a golf club, but I don't know what head is on the golf club to know what kind of swing I should be expecting at the moment. I'm still trying to see the whole golf club. Once I've got that, I can then see how I can swing it. Metaphors go burr. So this is what I expect would have, should have, could have been the Afflictions hit. It's very close to what actually happened there. I say very close, it is off by like 5-ish%, but that is at this point reasonable because the amount of rounding and hidden mathematics that Warframe just does. And no, the number of procs shouldn't matter. So yeah, it's just that. But if we take that as is, that leads to the slash proc of 2795 times 0.35, which equals 9783.5 per proc. And for the electric, blah blah blah, it is 27952.9 times 0.5 times 1.9 times 0.1 because of armor. $2655.5 per proc. So we have 2 of these. So that's 4887 times 2, and we have 6 of these. 9783.5 times 6. I'm expecting a DOT of 68,475 from Slash. We got 65,000. Again, because of the weird rounding going on. Weirdy schmeardiness, but it looks like we are in the right ballpark. 1326.485 electric times, well, just times 1, so just plus. Plus the electric 2655.5 times 6. Electric, I was expecting 17,259. 16 something 509. Again, it's a little bit out, but it's within the right ballpark. I think it is just a matter of the amount of rounding I'm having to do here, and good old quantization. Okay. So, those of you following along are wondering, Ken, when are you going to give us a conclusion as to what the hell you're even talking about? Now, what this is verified is that unless I have accidentally stumbled into seemingly appropriate numbers, but I'm actually just off the mark, unless I've gone really wrong on this, this shows that it is indeed still adding the electric and slash procs together when creating the Afflictions hit. So the fact that I proc on the yellow hit there, both slash and electric, means that this is basically twice as strong as it should have been. Probably, maybe. Within amounts. So, that brings me back to this and this over here. We take out all of the elemental bonuses, as we should, and we need to multiply this up against the armor. So the rest of this now from here is actually bogus. Fun fact about times 10, we can just move the decimal place. Yeah, that lesson you learned when you're like 5 years old, that becomes relevant again. Okay. So that is base damage without elements or armor, but still including crits, which is fine. This leads to then a slash proc of 423,596.8 times 0.35 times 1.9, because I had a status damage modifier on here of 90% extra, which equals calculator 423,596.8 times 0.35 times 1.9 28169.1.9 slash proc DPS. Oh, I should say per proc DPS. And then we have electric. No at 423,596.8 times 0.5 times 1.9. The electric modifier is not included at this step, so I'm skipping the electric modifier. Because that's what we did down here, wasn't it? Yes, without armor mod. Yeah. So it's going to be just a little bit higher. 402,417.0. Goes rounding. We then add these two together. 281,691.9 plus 402,417 is 281,691.9 684108.9. But I thought oh. So here's the weird thing, is that I thought we were at the point where the damage hit would then be based on this number. But we're not quite there. What step was next, then? Because on this one, I took those two, I added them together. And then we got about the hit. But I'm taking the two, I'm adding them together, and we're not getting the hit. Right. Oh, wait. Right, yeah, we're not supposed to have these in at all. I made that mistake last time as well, didn't I? Whatever. Okay, so... Screw all of that. Screw all of that. Screw all of that. That's all wrong. God damn. D plus. So, wait. What if I'm doing that? Have I just taken a very circuitous route to just take the numbers and multiply them by 1.9? I have. I'm just not even going to calculate them individually. I don't even need to. 423,596.8 times 1.9 times 2. And then divide that by 10, and we get an expected hit of 160,966, which is basically the ballpark of that. How have I gone through such a... Oh, right. Guys, you know when you've been chugging away at a problem for 2 hours and 30 minutes, and then something clicks in your head, and you realize you can explain this so simply that it almost looks like E equals MC squared? Yeah, I've just had that moment. It's just happened. Ah, right. If I'm applying 1.9 times to this, and then I'm doubling it, add it all together, blah, 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 why is 161 only slightly bigger than 131? Simple. Really, really simple. This 131,000 blah blah includes 210% of elemental bonus. The 161 does not include that. So we go from 131,000, 131315. We take out the elemental bonus and divide by 3.1. We multiply by our status damage bonus, 1.9, and we multiply by the number of elemental procs, which is 2. 160,966, which, due to just rounding errors and quantization, is our number. It was as simple as all that. So many moving parts, so many layers of wiki information, but when we're dealing with a single strike like that, we can just pair it out to that. Clashpoint asking, why does it not include that bonus? Because that is how DE coded it. Is the honest answer. The procs that come off of this will then apply their elemental bonus from your weapon, if they're allowed to, which is a complicated thing in itself. But it means that the hit itself doesn't do that. The procs do it separately. The Afflictions hit doesn't have elemental modding on it. So we can just shrink all of that down to just what is the status damage multiplier and what's the number of procs you're working with to multiply off of. When we're doing a single hit without other pre-existing status effects, which make it more complicated, hence why the wiki page. Oh, I got a twinge in my back. I've been mathing so hard, I'm actually pulling a muscle in my back. This is some heavy lifting. This is massively overwhelming. You're telling me? I'm the one who was having to do all this math live on stream. Oh. How many of you would honestly be comfortable live streaming to over 100 people mathematics and trying to act like you are the authority on getting it correct enough to explain it to other people? How many of you would be comfortable with that? Oh boy. But we're getting there. We're getting there. This is fun. You kind of want to make a program to calculate all this now. Step 1, create the entirety of Warframe. Because you would need to get every last little weird interaction they have going on. But now that I've got this far, we can now start to figure out how the billion happened. We're finally at the billion moment. Maybe. Line of equal signs time. I don't know how many procs happened here, and I'm going to have to make some assumptions. That's all we got. Assumption number 1. We've got forced proc slash, forced ability proc slash, and then 1 or 2 additional status effects, of which at least 1 must be electric. Let's run on the opening assumption that there was only 1 electric. We're going to run those numbers and see what happens. Hit 131315 slash proc off of that will be 131315. Remove the armor reduction, multiplied by the slash multiplier, multiplied by the 1.9 that comes out of having status damage modding. There's no faction, there's no other bits and pieces like that, so that is the slash proc we get. That is equal to 131315 times 10 times 0.35 times 1.9. 873,244.75. I'm just going to keep all the decimal places I have because why not? That's per second per proc. And we have at least 2 of these. Okay. Next, electric proc. That is 1313. Oh wait, no, it's not that. Bollocks. Divided by 3.1 because we don't have the elemental bonuses. My bad. Again, moving parts go burr. 281692. The decimal places are dead to me. Well. Okay. Verify again. That's our hit. We take out all the elemental modding. We take out the armor reduction. We apply the slash modifier. We apply the status modifier. Yeah, cool. Okay. Electric Rock is this. No skipping to the armor. We do have to suffer the armor. But it is times 0.5. 5 over, why not? 5 from, that's how electric works, times 1.9. Divide by the 3.1 element, times it by the element that is electric, which gives us 131315 times 0.5 times 1.9 divided by 3.1 times 2.5. 100604 per second per proc. We see that's about a third of the slash. That sounds about right, given how it works. Okay. We then have the Afflictions hit. 161292. No plus. This is without elemental modifiers. So slash proc from that one is 161292 times 10 because armor bypass times 0.35 because slash times 1.9 because status damage multiplier. No divide by 3.1 this time because there are no elemental multipliers on it. Keeping up with me? 161292 times 10 times 0.35 times 1.9 107 259 1.8 per second per proc. Electric proc. This is the 161292, no armor bypass. So it's times the 0.50 because that's what electric does, times 1.9. No divide because there's no elemental modding to take off, but still times 2.5 because there is the elemental modding to put back on, because that is how it works. 161292 times 0.5 times 1.9 times 2.5 is 383068.5. And that is still about a third of the slash. So, yeah, that sounds about right. Good. We know that we have 6 of these. We know that we have 6 of these. I believe at the point that I took this snip... Did I save a video of this one? Hold on. I might actually have saved a video of that one. Let me see if I can find that. That would have been yesterday late. Was it? I'm going to quickly put a different thing on screen just because the nature of some of the videos I need to go through here. Was it you? Waiting for the video to load. Not that video. Was it? Shoot. That one? Nope. This one. This one. This one. Nope. This one. This one. Not that one. Was it this one? Nope. I recorded so many things testing this yesterday. Not that one. Not that one? Then what video was it? Where did I get this? Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I'd find this a little quicker. I could have sworn I had this saved. That's... No, that was a different test. Why is that one not loading? Okay. Okay. I need to intermission screen because I need to minimize and close them all at once. Nope, none of those are in either. I've lost the file. Okay, never mind. I thought I could find it. I could not in fact find it. That's annoying. Yeah, so we are just going to have to work on estimated history of stuff here. That's fine. Right. Detour aside, let's bring us back to this. We were on this, doing this. Okay, so I don't know if I had the Harmony buff active. I think I did. So we got 6 procs, /ticks 7 times. When it has 6 times normally, 30% bonus. 6 times 1.3 is 7.8. Because it's 7.8, you don't get to the 8th tick. It times out before then. Electric, on the other hand, ticks at the start of the second, so 7.8 seconds, it'll tick 8 times. So electric will be 6 procs for 8 ticks. Up here we have unknown procs, or rather we have 1+ procs, for again 8 ticks. And as I've already put here, we have at least 2 of these. Let's just change that to the notation I'm using now. 2+ procs for 7 ticks. If you see a mistake at this point, please do let me know. So if I add all of this up now, 281,692 times 2 times 7 for the minimum damage from this, plus 100,604 times 8 minimum from this, plus 107,2591.8 times 6 times 7 from this, plus 383,068.5 times 6 times 8 from this, currently comes out to 68 million, multiplied by the 7 from Crepuscular, gives me 477 million. I'm still 600 mil short. I take one stage chance into account. One additional status effect in here is not going to give me double damage, and then some. I am still missing 600 million somewhere in this calculation, so there is another multiplier of some type somewhere, somehow, that I have missed. Mistress Luna, thank you very much for dropping your prime here. Much appreciated. Enjoy your lovely blue sub badge and all the other bits and pieces. I'll go with that. Okay. So, this hit here, this is Harmony deciding to condense all of that status damage into a single immediate application. In condensing it, it gains a 7 times damage multiplier from Arcane Crepuscular because Crepuscular just cheats like that. Because this is in fact an actual orange crit, which is itself a revelation, by the way. Already that's cool. But like, where's the rest of my damage then? We've got all of the proc damage calculation here, at least minimums. At most, it can give me another one of either of these. multipliers, which can't be that much. Like at the highest one, 7 times a quarter of a million is not even 2 million extra damage. For this, we verified the math to get to the hit that it's showing. We verified the effect of the procs that come off of the back of it. We verified the amounts that should be applied. Here, into slash proc, we have no mitigation from elemental mods, only bonuses from bypassing armor and status damage. Toro saying known melee afflictions bug, lifted procs, 12 stacks instead of 6, but we're not lifting, we're knocking down because there's a heavy attack from a scythe, which has a knockdown on the heavy attack. So, good to know. Not the problem here. Shouldn't be. So this is then 6 procs of this as calculated, and 6 procs of this as calculated, with their respective ticks taken as far as we can. Assuming the tick math is indeed tick math, if it's 7.8 rather than 7 ticks or 8 ticks, I don't know how I would ever know, to be honest, because that's not what should be happening, but maybe the game treats it like that. I mean, maybe the game treats it like that. Rerun the numbers on that base. Oh, nothing should come of that, but I'm gonna just retype it on that basis, just in case. That's 7.8. That is 7.8. Tapping slowly through the calculator. It's not designed for this kind of manipulation of numerals. 7.8. Step, 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 step. 7.8. And then that still only gives me 513 million. Yeah. And this is very conspicuously double that. Very conspicuously. 513 million, you double that, you get 1,026 million. Just so close to what number we're seeing there. So close. Where is that extra 2 times coming from? Double the electric proc damage? Well, electric proc is only part of it, Jaspion, so no. That'll be a more complicated series of modifiers being applied. So we had Harmony on heavy attack build. Yeah. The 90% status damage from this has been applied and applied again as appropriate. Afflictions, we see it, we calculate it. That's movement speed. This is just this, and that's definitely knockdown, not lifted. So that ain't it. It's definitely a 30% status duration increase. Yep. Varuna's Shrouded Einar, we already verified, does not give a crit damage bonus to the orange afflictions. We've already accounted for the status procs being generated by it. The crits are just visible. We've already accounted for Crepuscular. It's increasing the damage 7-fold. Shoot. I've run out of modifiers to check against. I've genuinely run out. There's nothing left. There has to be some other thing somewhere, and there's nothing left. Temple said, presuming taking into account the 600% stance damage. Well, I mean, if I was out by 600%, we'd notice it a little bit more than just half. But also, yes, the stance damage is already there. It's part of the hit. It just hits. Something is double dipping? Yeah, but what's something? This is the problem. Clash would say, wouldn't the best route be to try and recreate this again and see what comes out? You say that like it's so easy, mate. You say it like it's so easy. Did you not? Oh, you probably weren't here at the start when I was just swinging the unmodded weapon and got, was it one normal mode, crit mode, headshot mode, crit headshot. So at least 4 different damage numbers off itself, yeah. Is Elementalist applying against the Affliction procs? Yes, already accounted for that here and here. Already accounted for it. I'm really saying, if it's nearly straight double damage, could it just be a straight viral being applied? Where? This was the first hit on the target. It was not primed. It was not hit by anything else ahead of time, and there is no viral here. So, unless the game applied a viral proc and just decided not to tell me about it, in which case, what can I do? That didn't happen. Yeah, alright. Let's just grab those mods and swing. Sod it. When everything else fails, try something around this. A brand new set of enemies, just to make sure nothing else is in the way. Hard switch to melee. That was 95 mil. $81 mil. I need to let 1.5 bill. You see the trouble I'm running into here? 124 mil. 84 mil. Could it have been a headshot? And what about it being a headshot, Clashpoint? Would it have been missed in the mathematics so far and be relevant to it otherwise? What about it? Wait. What if I might have an answer and we might have just seen it happen in front of us? We might have just seen the answer happen in front of us right now. Maybe. Is the orange on the 1 billion actually a tier 2 crit or just visual? It is actually a tier 2, yes. It took us a while to get to that, but yes. So, this was very decidedly not a headshot. We can see everything about it is not headshot. Let's run the numbers on this real quickly. We have some pretty chonky hits, that's fine. By chonky, I mean they're actually a lot less than this. At first they look like, but no, they're like a fifth. But that's fine. So, I can combine a lot of this together and just kind of run it from those combinations. We've got 21385 multiplied by, like these. Still brackets, 3.5 times 1.9 divided by 3.1 plus bracket 1.25 times 1.9 divided by 3.1. Oh wait, I need double that. Okay. All of that multiplied by... multiplied by 6 and 7.8. So, proc damage total hit 5060588. Yes. Yes. So 5 million something. And then proc damage total afflictions will be the same process again, but this time it's 26266 multiplied by all of this lot. That is slash math, electric math, without the divisor. Bear me a moment. Let's go for Kalevo. Honestly, a lot of the glaives work, but Zorus is an amazing glaive, so if you just need any glaive that just carries you through content, Zorus. That times 6 times 7.8. I'm shortcutting a bit of the calculation here. I'm hoping that shortcut ends well for me. And then that times 7. It's about 16-ish mil. Times 7 is about 112. Ah, fuck. Okay, so maybe I... What? Oh yeah, I used the 7.8, so that actually, if anything... Oops, sorry. Means maybe it's not the 7.8. Rerun the numbers. I'm nearly there, chat. Nearly there. Nearly there. Zezra, we don't need to worry about DE just nerfing afflictions tomorrow, because I called out how this works a year ago. There is something else they might nerf, but we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, rerunning the numbers from the top. For the slash portion, it is 21385 multiplied by 10, multiplied by 0.35, multiplied by 1.9, divided by 3.1, and then we know there must be 2 slash blocks because forced from a heavy attack, forced from Voruna. So I can times that by 2. And then we know that they tick 7 times. Can someone tell me how I get slash damage on Voruna for her mod? How? What do you mean by slash damage on Voruna? Voruna is a Warframe. She has abilities, one of which forces slash procs out of her weapons, and another ability which just does, 2 abilities that just kind of do slash. But you don't put slash onto her, so I'm not sure what the question is. Okay, now I'm trying to keep track of where I got to. Yeah, so hit slash proc total minimum is 642,239. Actually kind of a low looking number, but this is why we have multipliers. Doing that same process, 21385 times 0.5 times 1.9 divided by 3.1 times 2.5 for electric proc per tick. Multiply by 8. Hit electric proc total minimum. 131069. You want to keep your in a 4. I mean, if you want to stay in Varuna's 4, check out my Voruna guide that I put out. Did I put that out yesterday? Or the day before? I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah. Just exclamation mark Voruna. And click on the last link that comes up in the message that replies to you. I've got you a setup there that allows you to use the 4 very effectively. And also what to do when the 4 isn't the right answer. Okay, so those are the proc damage totals from just the hit. Then we have the afflictions / proc total. And it's not a minimum, it's just known value. That is 26266 multiplied by 10 times 0.35 times 1.9 times 6 times 7. We know that is 7336093. 4 because it's 0.8. And from afflictions, electric proc total. That is 26266 times 0.5 times 1.9 times 2.5 6 times 8. 2994324. Is it worth slotting Arcane Crepuscular for a 4 build with the crit multiplier? Arcane Crepuscular will not apply if your invis only comes from your 1. If you want the crit multiplier for Arcane Crepuscular, you need to get the invis from another location, and that invis needs to be maintained. So for example, if you get it from your companion, a Huas Kubro, or from a Shade Sentinel, then you need to stay invisible throughout, and then you can activate. You'll just get the benefit of Crepuscular because you're invis. The reason the 1 isn't good enough is that whilst you are lunging with your 1, you become visible, so Crepuscular shuts off. I could have sworn there was a 3rd Lavos link. I think I replaced the old one with the newest video. Because... newest video. It was active? Yeah, nah. It shows active until you do the lunge, and it turns off in that moment. Then it'll turn on again the moment you've finished your lunge, because you go invisible again. So just in that brief moment, you might not even notice that it vanished and came back. But it happens. Why did they do that? Why they made her visible during the lunge, I don't know. For that, please ask Pablo. Kindly. Like, no nastiness here. Okay, so I've got these numbers. I think they're correct. They're good enough. Let's add them together. 642239 plus 131069 plus 7336094 plus 2994324. Multiply that all by 7. I'm expecting now 77 million. We landed 84. I'm still off by an amount and I don't know why. It's in the right ballpark, but we're off. We're only off by like 10%. So maybe I did fix the 7.86 bits and pieces earlier. Maybe that was wrong to do. So I'm just going to run the numbers again. I've run them more times than I care to shake a stick at. Why not just run them again? Until I find something that matches to my satisfaction, I'm just going to keep on hitting these numbers. I'm sure this is the most riveting content for y'all, but I'm going to figure this out! I'm going to, he said calmly. 21385 times 10 times 0.35 times 1.9 divided by 3.1 times 2 times 7.8. So alt calc for these could in fact actually be, depending on how the math on this works, 715,639, and this one would be, so glad I wrote down these earlier. This is why you show you're working out. If you've ever wondered why on even a basic looking question on a math test or science test or whatnot, the exam ever said, show you're working out, this is why. So that you get into the process of knowing how to refer back to your notes and following your own process. 21385 times 0.5 times 1.9 times 2.5 divided by 3.1 times 7.8 ticks. Minimum, and honestly the fact that there might be an electric proc doesn't matter here is kind of cool for us, but minimum, that number looks too low. Nope, that number is correct. Next, U 26266 times 10 times 0.35 times 1.9 times 6 times 7.8. I missed a key there. Times 6 times 7.8. My poor calculator has been through so much today. That's the correct number of digits. 26266 times 0.5 times 1.9 times 2.5 times 6 times 7.8. We add it all together, 715,639 plus 127,793 plus 817,4504 plus 291,9466. Multiplied by 7, 83,561,814. It is near enough that number. At this point, I think it's within rounding errors and quantization and whatever other stuff. I think we're on there with that one. So I said that this clip might have explained and showed why the other one hit 1 billion instead of 84 million. And that, I think, is if we go back to, not you, this one, which I hit for 1.5 billion damage. If I zoom out. Okay, wow, that is obnoxiously bright and is ruining my ability to be certain, but I think we can say that is a headshot. I think we can say that is a headshot. As much as the body red shimmer is saying, oh yeah, you just hit a body shot, we've already been over it. That's not the real effect. Can I see the shimmer move across the head? If it's there, it's not exactly visible, but I'm fairly certain we landed a headshot. Fairly certain we landed a headshot. This is 195468 on a red crit. We were previously getting on another one. That on a not red crit, not headshot. We go 21385 divide by 2 times by 3 times by 3 times by 2. I'd be expecting like 192,000. Yeah, that is a headshot. Fun fact, you can just kind of divide out crits once they're high enough into just straight to multiply and divide the tiers. Okay. The headshot one lands this 1.5 billion. I have a theory. If I run the status proc numbers on this right now, I should end up with about 750 million damage. If that happens, I have finally cracked the entire case, and we can all just go rest our heads forever. Brad gets buffed by headshot. Don't try guessing, because you're wrong. Don't try guessing. Let me test the numbers, and then tell you if I've figured it out or not. We're nearly there, Templar. Let me have my moment. So, hit slash minimum. Proc total minimum. Yeah, just be consistent. This, interestingly, has landed slash electric and puncture, which tells us we've got the 2 guaranteed slashes, We've rolled an electric and we've rolled a puncture, and the max we can roll is 4 status effects. So we know there's only 2 slashes there. So this isn't even a minimum. This is just, it has to be this. Okay. We go 195, 468, multiply by 10, 0.35, 1.9 divided by 3.1, multiply by 7.8. Yep. You just hit damage cap because of this? A whole lot of you are going to start hitting damage cap because of this. So hit slash block total was 3270621. And for the electric, 195,468. Multiplied by 0.5 times 1.9 times 2.5 divided by 3.1 times 7.8. I forgot to double that one. Hold on, let's go back to it. Yep, I did indeed forget to double it. I'll add that in a second. Hit electric proc total 1168079. This is supposed to be double that, so. And if you're wondering why it's double that, it's because there's 2 slash procs in there. We just can't see it. Afflictions slash proc total is coming off of that 240 up there. Looks weird to have a red crit lower than a white hit, but that's just how it works. 240,091 multiplied by... Where are you at? Here you at. 240,091 multiplied by 10, multiplied by 0.35, multiplied by 1.9. For 6 procs hitting 7.8 times. That is 74721121. That is a big number. And for you, 240,091 multiplied by 0.5 times 1.9 times 2.5 for 6 procs hitting 7.8 times. Two 6686115. Sum all of that is 6541242 plus 1168079 plus 7472121 plus 266861115 109116557 multiplied by 7 equals 763815899. Like I said, if I run the numbers on this, I will get about 750 million. I've got 763. So, some quantization or some rounding or something just slightly getting in the way there. There it is. So if instead of times 7, from a 4 times critical damage multiplier being applied for a tier 2 crit, so it becomes 7 times, because it's 4 minus 1, doubled, plus 1. It's instead a critical headshot, with no headshot multiplier. That doesn't happen, but it's still a critical headshot. Critical headshot turns the 4 times into an 8 times. 8 times into a critical bonus is a 7 bonus. Twice 14, plus 1, 15. So if we times 15... we get 109,116,557, 106, hit the right key, 557 times 15 is 1.6 billion expected. And obviously that is not 1.6 billion, it's a bit less. So it's somewhere roughly there. At this point, I feel like I have a consistent means to figure out the numbers as to what is happening. I believe I have it. Question is, how do I prove that? I think, chat, I have solved this screenshot. For reasons ridiculous, I believe I have solved the screenshot. In total, we have got this ordinary hit, which is a forced orange crit, forced extra procs, forced extra status, is then being multiplied by 1.9, multiplied by 2, reapplied, in the case of Slash, to 4 times as many as there were, in the case of Electric, to 8 times as many as there were. And then all of that is being multiplied by 14 because Arcane Crepuscule is a cheeky little shit. In addition to the multipliers of how many status effects there are multiplied by the number of ticks. And the other thing I'm fairly certain I can say at this point is that despite status procs hitting on ticks, so Slash, when you apply it, it doesn't hit straight away. It'll hit at 1 second, and 2 seconds, and 3 seconds, and 4 seconds, and 5 and 6. Despite 7.8 seconds of status duration, meaning 7 hits but 8 never happens, it doesn't have 7 ticks of damage to contribute to Harmony. It has 7.8. Harmony accounts for the fraction. So, can I make this more ridiculous? Now that we know how it all comes together, yes. Yes, I can make this more ridiculous. Is this the only time in the game that fractional seconds and stage duration actually end up mattering? I don't know. I don't know. Raw triple dips? We don't need raw. When we're going, we don't need raw. No. In fact, I'm not even going to use the epitaph. This should just work as is. Alright, missed the head on that one. Try again. Oh, wasn't invisible. Damn it. Damn it. I barely even saw the numbers I got on that one. I might actually be hitting too hard to notice, but we'll find out. One way or the other, I will probably eventually maybe see it. Shit, I think he just fucking died from that. Right, somewhere in here, either it's happened or I misunderstand. Let's just move that for a moment. So that one... Where was the hit? Body hit. No good. Don't care about body hits. Body hit. No good. Look at that damage. Pathetic. Tens of millions of damage. Pathetic. That's merely lethal. I don't care about lethal. What happened there? We're very close in on our damage numbers. Again, tens of millions. No good. Barely lethal. As in very, very lethal. We don't want very, very lethal. Let's do better. Come on. Swing. Nope. It looked good for a moment there, but nope, that's not good. That wasn't headshot. That's just death again. We don't care about that. That's a bigger hit, but again, we can see the spark. I managed to hit the arm. And headshot, voodoo, magic, mumbo jumbo crap.
Hit the head. Nope. Not the head. I think that was the shoulder. Those numbers looked far too low. I thought I saw that. Suffering from success. I'm sorry, chat. I wanted to give you the biggest damage number I could possibly give you. I wanted to give you something so overwhelmingly massive that you would be celebrating to the high heavens how you could access these insane damage numbers. And I have failed you. I have failed you. There are some people in ads at the moment. I'm going to explain what's happening here in just a second. What's happened here, in my attempt to give you the most ludicrous looking number, with that headshot, and look at that splurt! Oh, the gore is full force right there. That's the Voruna we all know and love. I then followed up with 10,000 damage. 10,000. Because I think that's the electric proc. The enemy died too quick for anything else to matter. That headshot was so strong that Afflictions and Harmony didn't even get a chance to trigger. I hit them so hard that what could have multiplied up all those times over, you see that 4 million, we weren't starting with 4 million before. I hit them so hard, they just died. Before the 5,000 multiplier came in. Alvius, thank you very much for resubscribing with your Prime up onto 1.5 years of support. Much appreciated. Cheers. Clash was saying, but it was the headshot being the last modifier that's causing the missing math, right? So it was not strictly just headshot, it was the critical headshot applying a doubling effect to the critical bonus of Arcane Crepuscular without giving a headshot bonus, because the headshot multiplier appears to be 1 times or otherwise just not included. It was only because it was considered a critical headshot on the very first part of the whole process that it then dropped the crits to only pick up the crits again, because it gives its own crits of a tier 2 crit that has no crit multiplier, but Crepuscular gave it a crit multiplier that it doubled. And that's why that was happening. And this shows when you try a little too hard, you just kill it. All the other bits up to this point, you can see the swings here, not a headshot, so we see the actual hit of the weapon there for 134,000 on a red crit. But by hitting the headshot with some additional status effects...
How dare my sub run out midstream? Got jump scared by ads.
Ooh, that is horrible. Ellie, thank you very much for resubscribing there with your Prime up to 35 months. Much appreciated there, absolutely. Very next month, you're gonna have yourself a new pot. Yep, you're gonna have to turn that one in a moment. Very next pot on your resub, that's gonna be silver. Much appreciated. But yeah, so we see this one here has heat proc on them, has cold procs, but it doesn't have viral. So we get 134, nearly 135k on a body shot. But over here, this one, it's got the viral, it's got corrosive as well, and a little bit of cold. So the armor is reduced by 80%. The health is taking 4.25 times the damage. We swing in with this critical headshot, which roughly increases your damage 6-fold as well. Granted, we've gone down from a red crit to the orange, so it's roughly only a 3... That's roughly only a 4-fold increase.
But we got a fourfold increase from critical headshot. Yeah. Multiplied by the 4.25 from the viral. Multiplied by probably around about 5 times from the removal of armor. That suggests like an 85-fold damage increase available to us there. Even if we don't get that much, yeah, you can see how that thing just died. Just dead. Every hit point it had to offer, obliterated. And you can see the glow of the headshot happening. And so, it is possible to do too much damage in this game, that you end up doing less damage. It is possible to just deal too much. These lot are all procced. Let's see if I can get away with the epitaph then, with just a spread of bits. Didn't land the headshot. That's fine. Ah, shit. Why? Why must you fail me so often? Yeah, I one-shot him. Even with 1,000,000 damage. God damn it. There wasn't even that many procs on there. There's 2 viral procs, 1 heat, 3 cold. You lemon. Yeah. Bollocks. Hydrate? I am actually completely out of drinks at this point. So I'll have to do it off stream and you'll have to trust me on that. I have one final step I could maybe take here that could possibly, maybe, potentially resolve this for us. One last thing I can do. Maybe this will have enough hit points. Maybe. I've only summoned one of them. Come what may. Didn't even body shot. Let's summon a few of them. I don't know if that was enough. Did it do it, or did I body shot? I actually didn't see it. Nope, that was a body shot. Dang it! Yeah, demolishers will nullify stuff, and that causes problems. 20 million? Nope. No. Fucking headshots. Who even aims for headshots with melee? I can't. I can't. I just can't. This is why guns are superior. You just aim for the head and it hits. Nope. No. No. It's lethal. It's lethal. I've done my bit.
If you really, really want a headshot with Harmony, go ahead and figure out how the hell you do that with any consistency. Not on just one enemy, but on a mission basis. But even on the body shots, it's lethal. It's good enough. Could I set up Ivara zipline arrows and headshot from up there? I don't even know where the swing is trying to hit. I'll be quite honest with you, because in the first place, it wasn't even headshotting where I was aiming. At one point, I managed to headshot the back of the head of something facing me. I don't know. So, at the very least, there is one singular, ultimate takeaway from this. And that is, Arcane Crepuscular does indeed work with Harmony. Harmonic Resonance, this unique trait of Harmony, condensing those status effects into a single damage instance that for some reason is orange, is indeed actually an orange crit. It has a 1x damage multiplier, a 1x headshot bonus if it is even considering headshots, but if you hit a headshot with the swing of the melee, it counts for critical headshot purposes. Arcane Crepuscular turns that 1x damage multiplier into a 4x critical damage multiplier, which is a 7x on body shot or 15x on headshot. Yeah. And that is why the numbers are so absurdly high, on top of all the other absurdly high things happening in the first place. That is where it's all been hiding this whole time. But also Melee Afflictions is bonkers, Harmony is bonkers, and Voruna is bonkers. It's a lot of bonkers. Buff soup, if I may. I think it's about time we do a giveaway. Yeah, let's do a giveaway. I joked with someone earlier this was going to take all 3 hours to figure out. Technically gone further than that. What even is this game? What even is it? Let's do a giveaway, shall we? Let's get that loaded up. That's not the screen you need to see. Come on. There it is. It took a moment to get there. You don't need to see the inner workings as to the Tesla around the middle of it, but whatever. It's very strong? Yeah, it's very strong. Irritating too strongly. Alright, we're going to do a 75 plat giveaway. For those of you who want to get even bigger giveaway, make sure you're joining in on Sunday for an opportunity to win yourself the Voruna Prime Access. Actually, here's a thought. Hold on, real quickly. Let me check to make sure I've got my timings correct on this, because I do not want to make a promise I can't keep. So I'm going to check first. Yes, we can do this. Because we're doing the Voruna Prime Access giveaway on Sunday, I'm not going to run a 75 plat giveaway on that day as well, because, I mean, as much as, you know, yay, winning, imagine being the person who wins a 75 plat giveaway after the Voruna Prime Access. And someone else walks away with the whole pack, and you're just like, yay. I don't want to do that to you. I don't want to sully that. So, instead, today, we're going to do 2 winners. We'll do Sunday's 75 plat today. As a thanks to all of you sticking out throughout this entire very pithy, very mathy stream. So you joined at the right time? Okay, those of you who joined in throughout this very pithy, very mathy stream, and Alsu. You just can't get the regulars, can you? Alright, we're going to have this open for a couple minutes. Let's open the draw. The draw is now open. Let's get my face out of the way. Exclamation mark enter in the chat for a chance to win the 75 plat. 2 people will be winners today. Not 1 person twice. That can't happen. But there will be 2 winners on this draw. So exclamation mark enter in the chat for a chance to win that 75 plat. You'll only have 1.5 minutes left to get in on the chance to win that. As soon as that timer at the top here hits 0, we'll be doing the draw. So you have no way to claim you didn't know when it was going to close. And don't try to leave it to the last second as well, because, you know, stream delay is a thing. Don't be that person. I will point and laugh. You see yourself right? Yeah.
it is a bit busy on screen. I considered, when I made the update to add the timer to this, I did consider also adding in a change to the spread of people on screen to make it into a nice regular order. And then I realized, no, wait, no, that looks boring. We want the chaotic spread. That's the whole point, is to have the chaotic spread. So, no. Is the answer on that. I did also consider making the text smaller, making it try and figure out how to get the layering different, but nah, we'll just go where it is. It's fine. It's fine. Last 30 seconds to enter, exclamation mark enter. Join into the giveaway here for 75 plat. There's, again, 2 winners being drawn today. Detronatada saying, thank you so much for all the work. Main thing I took away from this is should build Harmony. Yeah, Harmony is cool. Harmony is indeed a powerful weapon built for Afflictions. Afflictions is built for Harmony. The two go hand in hand, and Crepuscular just takes it stupidly further. 7 to 15 times further, which is wild. And it's draw time! Let's have a look then. Who are our 2 winners going to be? Well, first of all, who's going to get obliterated? Azrael's taken out of the running. Voodoo Ray Ray, not a chance this time. Toriel, nope, no platinum for you from this one. Cutterballs out, Chaos is out, Zom is out, Minashinu is out, Death Sculler, that bright red cape is not going to save you from this. Turns out the bull came straight for you. Cat Centaur at the back there, removed from the runnings, which means our winners are... Ice Killer and Graveyard Player. Congratulations to both of you, Ice Killer S and Graveyard Player. You are our 2 winners today of the Platinum giveaway. But would you look at that, I need the details of both of you. So for you two, if you could please use the command !IGN, as well as your Warframe username and platform, all in one message, and we'll know exactly where to send that over to. You don't need to log in. The Platinum is sent out automatically by DE. You receive it in your inbox within 2 weeks from now. But I do need to know where I'm sending it, so please both of you use that !IGN command, or you will not receive it. Simple as that. Graveyard Player going, whoa, GG. Yes, indeed. GG's for you right there. Do we have an Ice Killer going around? I mean, it's only been 2 minutes since the draw. I would assume one does not join into a draw and then sprint off into the distance. Ice Killer, need all the details, not just IGN, but IGN, your name, your platform, all in one message. And likewise, I need that from Graveyard Player as well. For everyone else, though, that is indeed where we're going to wrap it up today. I have done so much mathing today and so much testing of Warframe mechanics. I think my brain is about to leak out of my ears, and I desperately need to get another cup of tea so I can honour that hydrate request from Byte. So that is indeed where we're going to wrap it up today. Thank you very much for both of you, for all of you, not both. There's a lot more than 2 of you. Thank you all of you for joining in on this. I will be live again on Friday for some... I'll be honest, I've still yet to figure that bit out, but we'll see what we're up to on that. Looks like we've got the IGNs of both players. Perfect. That means that plat can indeed come your way. That'll be in your in-game inbox within the next 2 weeks. I will see you on Friday. Or if you're not here then, I will definitely see y'all on Sunday, because we've got a Voruna Prime Access draw to do. Have a good one. Bye-bye.